Episode 2 of The Drop. I am Nick Reed, along with Morgan Smith, Mr. Gameday himself, Zach Doty, Cam Sullivan, Brandon Loris, as well as Miss Gameday, Jennifer Smith. Man, how y'all doing this morning?
Good, man.
Doing pretty good. Can't complain.
Can't complain at all. We got some good stuff to get into today. But before we get into that, man, first episode yesterday. Obviously got stuff going on TikTok and Instagram, all the social media platforms right now. We'll start with you, Morgan, man. How you feel yesterday, man?
Man, I think it went good. I thought y'all had some bad arguments. And I thought y'all lost some arguments, particularly the Jalen Hurts Tua argument, but it is what it is. I mean,
I wouldn't say we lost the argument because I think at one point we started arguing about two different things. It started getting to the point where you thought we were saying it was a bad coaching decision, but we just thought it was Jalen Hurts got done dirty by his coaching staff, not necessarily that it was a bad coaching decision.
He didn't get done dirty.
I mean, we obviously can look at the outcome and be like, oh, yes, that was a good choice for them to come in and make that change, and they won the game. But
just so y'all know, you could vote on it on TikTok, and 75% of people agree with me.
Because I think it was a little confusing in what we were arguing, but it's fine though. I'll take.
We were also addressed as clowns, so
yeah, exactly. The clowns. That's wild.
I mean, if y'all say dumb stuff,
Hey, I just want to know out there, if you would have asked it like this, hey, if it was you were the player, would you want to get benched or would you want a chance to come back in that ball game?
Nobody wants to get benched.
Especially when you know how good you are, like Jalen Hurts, obviously. Probably going to win the Super Bowl this year. But anyway.
49ers are going to win the Super Bowl.
You think so?
We talked about this yesterday, and you were like, oh, I want the 49ers to win so I can shoot the Super Bowl. But also, you hate Philly. So,
but it's not going to give you a bad taste in your mouth that the team that put you out and stopped your chances to win it wins it?
No. Because I'm used to it as a Cowboys fan. I'm used to being let down at this point. So, it doesn't really bother me at all at this point.
I know Doty's more of a moral victory type of guy. You know what I'm saying? Like he'd rather get
has to be.
That sounded awful.
He'd rather get beat by the champion in a sport. Almost more than winning it. But go ahead, Doty.
Kind of. I mean, I feel like I'm like there with Cowboys fans, but just like in a different way. I mean, the Packers make the playoffs every year and I feel like we have this potential. And then we don't meet the potential. We always lose in the AFC or the NFC Championship game, or we lose in the divisional round, and it just feels like we're back to square one every single year. And
at least y'all won a championship in the 2010s.
What'd you say?
At least y'all won a championship in the 2010s.
Oh yeah, 2011, and that was a great year. And if you look at that team, you see so much potential. Clay Matthews and A.J. Hawk on the defensive end, and Julius Peppers was on that defensive line for a long time. We've had so many offensive stars: Donald Driver, Greg Jennings, Jordy Nelson, Randall Cobb, Devontae Adams. How did we never win a Super Bowl with Devontae Adams? Is insane to me. That is what drives my pain as a Packers fan the most. And knowing that Jordan Love is my starting quarterback next year does kind of put a pit in my heart.
Well, they've been quarterback gifted for a long time.
For
in
a
Green
long
Bay.
time.
It's time for you to know what it's like to be a Cowboys fan.
But what if Jordan Love?
But I'm sure they'll get lucky, and Jordan Love will end up being a Hall of Famer or something. Because that would never happen in Dallas.
This is definitely going to be like the roughest moments of my sports fandom. I mean, the Red Sox are about to be awful.
Yeah.
The Packers are about to be awful. TCU losing in the national championship the way that they did was crushing. And then, I mean, it's
crushing. You expected a W?
I didn't expect a W. I didn't expect to lose 52-7.
I mean, can we all agree? Everybody was like, how are they playing in the national championship game?
But I didn't expect to lose 52-7.
I did.
I didn't expect it to be that bad, but I wasn't surprised. We got a random question on here.
All right,
how many times have the Longview Lobos been shut out at home? I don't know where to find that.
I would say probably not more than 5.
I bet you since the 90s it hadn't happened ever.
But
I don't know. I mean,
their record's pretty good at home too. I know we talked about that last year.
I mean, they went like 2 decades without losing a district game.
Yeah, so I that's going to be that's a good question right there. Who
asked
that question?
Let's see.
Lobo. Doesn't seem like Coach King would allow that.
LoboFootball.com.
Adrian Pickett asked that question. Good question right there.
I honestly don't know how to find that. I mean, I know LoboFootball.com has all the stuff.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Hit him up. Hey, Frank, I know you probably lurking somewhere out there. Hey, that's really your question. Yeah, that's really your question right there. But no,
he answered his own question. 1984 Texas High 6 Lobo 0.
That's the only one.
I mean,
it was the last time.
The last time.
That was his question. Hey.
That's a long time ago. Shout out Adrian Pickett for the.
Yeah, don't ever get on here with that again.
Hey, shout out, boy.
I'm gonna block him from the live.
Speaking of the questions, though, I got a question for the fans that we're gonna leave out. We're gonna leave out there the whole show. Whoever gets it right, Morgan may give you something. I don't know. What is the record for red cards given in a soccer game ever? All right, that's the question. That's the question of the day.
What is a red card?
A red card is if you do a foul that's really bad in soccer, you get a red card.
So you have like your yellow cards, and that's your warning. If you get a red card, you're ejected, basically. So it's like 2 unsportsmanlike conducts.
Yeah, basically.
There you go.
And you
Football
have to go
simplified.
Out, right?
What'd
you
you
go
say?
Out when you get a red card.
So when you get a red card, you're ejected immediately, and I believe you have to miss the next game.
Yeah, they can't, and you don't get a sub. Like you're a man down if you get a red card, right?
Yes.
Something like that.
Yeah, you're now left with 10 people on the field.
Yeah, we know a little bit, man. Shout out Mike Rumble.
And in 1935, Longview Lobos punted in one time in a game 20 times.
Goodness.
Jeez.
Couldn't move the ball. I know that
I
was
wonder if
largest
he got some offers
comeback,
after that game.
28 points against Lufkin in 2014. Most points, 84 against Jefferson in 1927. Most yards, 885 against Mesquite Horn in 2019. That's a lot of yards.
That's a lot of yards. Shout out Longview.
Especially with Coach King running, because he don't really like to run it up on people like that. I don't know how many points they scored in that game. That is a lot of yards.
That's a lot of yards.
425 in a game. Ooh, guess what the rushing record is in a game?
425.
No, that was passing yards.
What is it?
582. Hallsville decided they want to play them Bows, and it did not work out well for them on 11/6/2015.
Aaron Whitehead.
Aaron Whitehead. Yeah.
Aaron Whitehead in here.
Hey, that's not the right answer, though.
That's
but hey, I
copy
like
and pasted from Wikipedia for sure.
Battle of Nuremberg at Euro 2006 saw Russian referee Valentin, I can't say that
Ivanov.
last name, administer 4 red cards and 16 yellows in the round of 16.
See, Jill Flanagan's watching. Shout out to Luke Flanagan.
Shout out. But that's not the most. That's the most cards total, but not the most red cards.
This is a dumb game. Nobody cares about soccer.
Well, hey, nobody's gotten it right, and you're going to have to give them a gift today.
It was meant as like a throughout the show kind of question.
Yeah, it's just a question to throw out there. I'm going to throw one out every day. I got one for y'all, too, later on. Don't worry about it.
All right. Hopefully it's not like the other question yesterday. That
it's worse.
Nobody would have ever got.
I don't know if y'all will get this one, but y'all got a chance to. Y'all got a chance to.
All right.
But speaking of getting chances, All-Star voting is over. All-Star teams have been announced, or starters have been announced. I'm gonna let Dodie talk about this a little bit because he's kind of passionate about it.
Yeah, I did a lot of research about it yesterday. So we'll start out east. Giannis Antetokounmpo is named the captain. I feel like it's pretty deserving. I mean, 31 points. He averaged 31 points this year, 12 rebounds, 5.3 assists. He's shooting 53, 26, 65 from the field. and so, I mean, that one's pretty deserving. And then rounding out the rest of the starters, Kevin Durant, Donovan Mitchell, Kyrie Irving, and Jason Tatum. I don't feel like there's any controversy really around the starting five as far as whether or not they deserve to be there. I think the one question is should Joel Embiid have been a starter?
And that's my thing. I think you have to put Joel Embiid in there. I don't know what all really goes into the picking of the starters, how much their stats and everything really just go into it, or how much of it is fan votes.
Well, I have it written down.
Okay, then,
it's 50% fan vote, 25% player vote, and 25% media vote. And so the fans have the majority, and so they're going to get the higher of anything. And if you look at it, I mean, I think it's a matter of you can only have 3 forwards in your starting lineup.
So do they not vote anymore, or do they not pick their team anymore?
They do. Well, so it's that the new All-Star game format. We'll talk about it in a minute.
The funniest one ever was when LeBron was trying to make Kevin Durant pick James Harden.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Well, so we're gonna have something similar this year, except it's not gonna be a few weeks ahead of time. They're gonna do it right before the game. It's gonna be like a pickup style game.
Yeah.
So it should be pretty interesting. So I think Jason Tatum probably got the nod because of the Celtics record. I think that's going to help him out a lot. And then Joel Embiid only played in 35 of the 47 games for the Sixers this year, and so that probably held him back a little bit. But I mean, he is averaging 33.4 points, almost 10 rebounds, and 4 assists. So I mean, he's had a good season. I think he's top 5 in MVP voting right now.
Yeah, and I think right with Joel Embiid, maybe why he didn't get it too. Now that you've broken it down, and the percentage wise, he's been into a little tiff with the media. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying here lately, and then I don't know how many friends he actually has in the NBA, what the players think of him and things like that. But I think those 2 categories would be where he would score the least in. So somebody else probably had just a little bit of edge over Joel Embiid.
Yeah, and I think the only other one out east that could have been questionable was Kyrie Irving. He's averaging 26.8 points, 5.1 rebounds, 5.2 assists, shooting close to 50-40-90 for the year, which is very good. But he did miss out a lot of time early on in the year, and they think that James Harden could have possibly got that spot, maybe a Jalen Brunson or even a Tyrese Halliburton.
Yeah, for sure. I'm not in the East anymore though, Dodie. You know, I don't have a team in basketball either. Yeah. I know Morgan loves that, but you know, I'm with LeBron now. I'm over in the West. You know, so I think that's the better team here too. So what's the West looking like?
Yeah, and that's kind of why we started with the East, just because it was kind of basic. It kind of felt like that. Nobody in here really cares about the East. But I mean, getting into the West, LeBron James named captain out West, 29.5 points, 8.5 rebounds, 7 assists, shooting 50, 30, and 77 this season. Following him, no surprise, Nikola Jokic probably going to win his 3rd consecutive MVP, Luka Doncic, and then Stephen Curry and Zion Williamson.
Great lineup right there. Zion, first of all, I want to hats off to Zion for, I mean, just this time last year, everybody was talking about how out of shape he was when they would see him on the sidelines at games. Will he come back? Is he going to be the biggest bust we've ever seen, you know, in NBA history and things like that? And he's come back this year, and he's shown everybody, like, you know, I'm still that guy. You know, I'm still Zion. I'm still the guy y'all were watching in high school and things like that. So shout out to Zion. And then also, you know, obviously shout out to the GOAT. Mm-hmm. You know, another 19 ties Kareem right here for 19 All-Star selections. The captain again, of course. Who else would you pick? I mean, that's all I got to say about that, man. LeBron's the GOAT.
And I think this is an incredible lineup. I think the main discrepancies are going to come in with Zion. He's missed a lot of time. He's missed 20 games so far this season, 12 in a row now with a hamstring injury, and they even think that he's going to miss the All-Star game. So they think that maybe Domantas Sabonis or even Anthony Davis should have gone in ahead of him as a starter, but they'll probably fill in that role if Zion doesn't play.
Zion could go down as a bust.
No.
Just on sheer playing time.
I mean, he's not. I think he'll go down as the most unreliable, but I don't think he can be a bust anymore.
I mean, I think if the hype's coming in, how much time he's missed, if he continues to miss this kind of time, you can label him a bust.
I guess so, but I mean,
you can't say, he's injury prone when we know he's the reason.
But Anthony Davis is injury prone.
And nobody's saying Anthony Davis is a GOAT.
But he's not
a bust.
I didn't say he was. I mean, he's won a championship. He's not going to win anything in New Orleans.
He could. They're good.
They're the number 1 seed.
He ain't going to be playing.
They're really good. But
if they do win it, it ain't going to be because of him.
But I mean, if they're resting him right now during the regular season and they have him down those long stretches of the playoffs, that could come in.
That's what I hate about NBA. Everybody's getting rested.
And you can do that now, though.
And that's a big thing, and that's another controversy about possibly Stephen Curry even being a starter. He's going to get a lot of the fan vote, and he is putting up good numbers, but he's only played 33 of 48 games.
I want to know what keeps me from paying 2 million bots to vote for somebody.
Nothing really.
Yeah.
I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah. If he really wanted to be,
and dude's making $30 million a year. What keeps him from being like, man, I'll spend $400,000 to be sure I'm in the All-Star game?
But I think those other categories, you know, will get you there. Like if you just spend it and you have a bunch of fan votes, but you don't have any media or player votes, you're not gonna get in.
If you're a borderline player, it would get you in though.
Yeah, it probably could get you in. How many borderline players have probably got in? Like the Brandon Knight situation back in the day?
Yeah.
When Kyrie ended his career during the All-Star game?
Yeah. I mean, I can't really name a whole lot of like starters off the top of my head. I mean, I think Andrew Wiggins got in last year because of the team that he was on. He had a great year, but I don't know that he should have been a starter. But I mean, if you look at like some of the guys that kind of got left out, we talked about Domantas Sabonis and Anthony Davis. Domantas Sabonis has been great this year, leading the Kings to the 3 seed. Would you have guessed that the Kings is a 3 seed?
I don't keep up with basketball until playoffs start.
Yeah. I'm barely in there till the playoffs start.
I tuned in last night because I got NBA Showtime or whatever it's called, so I get every NBA game. And Luka got hurt in like the first 2 minutes of the game.
Made you turn it
Yeah,
off.
he has a mild ankle sprain, and he's going to be day-to-day after last night's injury against the Suns. And then other guards that possibly could have got in, Ja Morant, Damian Lillard, or Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who's Shai's averaging 30.8 points, 4.8 rebounds, 5.6 assists, 51, 36, 91 from the field. He's putting up a great year in Oklahoma City, but, I mean, he plays for Oklahoma City, so he's not going to get as much love.
Do y'all think that Ja, not to go away from the All-Star game or whatever, but do y'all think Ja is kind of becoming like the new villain of the NBA? I think he's really good, and I think he's going to be a top player in the NBA for a long time. But I do think he's kind of going off that veered path, and he's going to end up like a Russell Westbrook, type of mentality or type of.
I mean, he's the proverbial fake tough guy.
I don't know that it's strictly Ja. I think it's the entire Grizzlies, if we're being honest. The Grizzlies have that, we have an attitude behind us, but we can't necessarily back it up at the same time. They're going to talk all the crap that they can, but they can't necessarily back it up. I mean, we saw it last year against the Warriors in the playoffs. And
yeah, they did talk a lot of trash.
Steven Adams did want none of Shannon Sharp. He can walk up there and act tough. I'm taking Shannon Sharp in that fight.
I'm taking Shannon Sharp in that too, but that's funny because I saw a bunch of podcasts and a bunch of shows talking about this with ex-NFL players and things of that nature, and they're all saying, which they call Steven Adams Aquaman or whatever, and they're all saying like, he would have destroyed Shannon Sharp and all this. I just don't see it.
I don't either.
No disrespect to any hoopers out there or whatever, but I just don't see it.
Y'all are hoopers for a reason. You don't like contact.
Exactly.
And Shannon Sharp played one of the toughest positions. Tough man positions in the NFL. Like Shannon Sharp, I'm putting my money on him.
Exactly. I'm putting my money on him too. And then also, like in basketball, if you're going to fight somebody, if there was any sport where you can fight somebody, like I'm mad at you
for 6 seconds.
Exactly. I'm mad
Throw
at you.
the first punch and you
mad
win.
At me. We don't have on helmets. We don't have on pads. It's going to be at least 4 or 5 seconds before the refs get over here. This is our time to fight.
Yeah.
And this is the most sports you could do this in, besides baseball, because you'd be standing beside the guy. But no hoopers ever fight. It's always just, I'm in your face, push, push, push. My teammate that's really about it comes over here and knocks you down or whatever, and then it's over. And so I just don't think Steven Adams is about it. Like, Steven Adams, you really let a female security guard hold you back from getting to Shannon Sharp? You see what I'm saying? Like,
I mean, he obviously wasn't going to, like, throw a punch at Shannon Sharp. That was never his intention. I think he was more of a mediator in that situation of, hey, let's just calm things down here. There's no need for all this.
I guess, man. The hooper.
I think we let the size of Steven Adams make that more of something than it was. He's obviously a huge guy. He looks like he's gonna like walk up on you like he's gonna do something. But I think he was more of a mediator. If you think about who Steven Adams is as a player and as a person throughout his career.
In 2023, will we ever see another Malice in the Palace?
Yeah, eventually we will.
Patrick Beverly probably will. If it's going to be anybody or Russell Westbrook, I feel like at some point some fan is going to say the wrong thing.
Fans are getting out of control.
Fans are getting out of control.
And it's not going to be the player's not going to start it. But somebody's going to cross the line.
Where's the line between heckling and disrespect, though? Like, I think that's...
I don't know. You let freaking, what's his name, Chris, point guard.
Paul.
Chris Paul tell it. If you just look at his mom, you're disrespectful.
That's what I'm saying. Like, there's such a blurred line between, like, okay, you're a fan in the stands, passionate about your team. I play for the opposite team, whatever, going back and forth. And then where does it get real? And I think that's the biggest issue with the NBA. Everything in the NBA is just too close for me, I think. It's too much fan-player interaction. Like, Shannon Sharp was able to just walk right out there on the court.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I think the NBA is set up for things like the Malice in the Palace. But then again, that's how they, they stay relevant.
And I think like we hear a lot about Utah's environment and about how Utah, you wouldn't think it, but those fans are reckless.
They got nothing else
will
to do.
they will be as personal as they can be towards your family, towards anything about you, and they don't care. And so that's what it leads to a lot of these guys like Russell Westbrook and Patrick Beverly. We've seen them get in altercations before with these fans. I believe before, like even like Wizards fans would like throw drinks or stuff on these players or like spit. I think there was one person that like spit on somebody at some point. It's getting out of hand for sure.
Well, if the only thing about this in today's age, like there was still camera footage of the Malice in the Palace, but think about all the angles and everything we'll have if it happens today. And the
Somebody sent me some mail with a scratch off ticket in it.
get the scratching over
They
there.
were like, "Man, you better open this mail."
Get the scratching over there. You see what you on camera. See how lucky you are today.
No, I'll let you have it.
Oh, great pass right there. Great pass. Hey, let me see. What we got here? We got us big time money. Hey, if I scratch this and win now, I don't want you to try.
Oh, it's half mine.
Come back and get half.
It's half mine. It might be all mine, depending on what it is.
Y'all see how it go? Yeah, see how it go. But coaching moves in Dallas, man. What's going on down in the Triple D?
All right, so we'll move back into the NFL. More of Morgan's wheelhouse over here. Coaching moves in Dallas, starting with Dan Quinn. He's passing up head coaching opportunities to say the defensive coordinator in Dallas. He said, quote, "Unfinished business here in Dallas. My complete focus is helping the team play championship ball in 2023. And then moving on to the offensive side, Mike McCarthy declines to commit to Kellen Moore. Says he will be evaluated with all the other coaching staff. Is this the change that the Cowboys need?
I don't understand the firing of the running back coach. What does he got to do with anything? He has an all-pro running back that's not even the big name. Why fire that guy?
I didn't even realize that he got fired.
Yeah, and then Kellen Moore, I mean, what?
Nick's saying that it's fake.
It's gotta be.
He's got it because he's winning, apparently.
Yeah,
What'd you win?
25K.
No, you didn't.
That's why I say it's fake.
It's
bro.
fake.
Let me read the back of this thing.
Did you really?
Yeah, this is fake. It's gotta be.
We'll let Brandon get
Hey,
on
I
in
don't
on
see
this
that, no,
discussion
it's
too in a
fake.
minute.
Let me see it.
What state is it?
Match 3 like amounts and win that amount. 25K, 25K, 25K. Y'all see it here first. Right here. 25K, 25K, 25K. That's gotta be fake. It's gotta be fake.
Boom gang.
Somebody just sent my boy a prank card, but if not, hey,
I mean, it's got a barcode on
you
it.
said half, right? At least
I didn't say nothing.
Because
Cut the camera.
you didn't got me to kick these cameras. Brandon ain't never coming back.
What state is it out
I don't know. I don't know how to tell.
Normally on the back of them it says something like, this is a joke prank card or something like that. Who sent it? First of all, that'll let you know. Like, did Frank send it up here?
No. It's like one of them sales thing where they want you to look at their product.
Oh, that's definitely got to be something fake.
And then it
say
says
yeah.
Louisiana.
Hey, we taking a road trip.
Odds of winning any prize, 1 and 2. Odds of winning the big time money is 1 in 1.5 million.
So that's the max amount you can win on that card is 25K.
Man, if this is fake, I'm gonna be pissed.
It's got to be fake, but if it's
Show's
real,
gonna be
hey,
3 hours just off of this lottery card.
Shout out my boy Gucci.
Where in Louisiana did the package come?
Hey, you got the Lotto app on your phone? You can scan that joker.
You got to drive to the state to claim it.
Ah,
So there may or may not be a PGLE game tonight.
we may be taking a trip down to Louisiana.
We.
Hey, it's gonna be some weird. Raptor ain't
Send
gonna be able to
a
move too
little
far.
French in there.
Gotta be-
Bad news in that
Oh, man, we got some bad news in that letter back there. Oh, man. Hey, speaking of bad news, Bally Sports.
Yeah, I heard y'all. What were y'all talking about?
Unlike me, who just hit for 25K, Valley Sports going bankrupt.
Yeah, so the
Good.
the company that manages Bally Sports are $8.6 billion in debt. And so that debt.
Dang, dude, I want to get $8.6 billion in debt.
Yeah,
I'm gonna keep about
That's a fun
25%
run.
of it.
And so they were supposed to be paying
I'm
more.
gonna have a hellified salary.
They were supposed to go more into debt this upcoming February, but they have declined to pay, and so that debt will turn into equity as their highest creditors will take over as owners. The biggest thing out of this is that a lot of professional teams are relying on the revenue from the TV deals that they've signed with Bally Sports, and they're no longer going to be fulfilled. So owners are now missing out on a lot of money that they thought would be available. So, and then also, what does this mean for like our local broadcasts as we rely on Bally Sports for a lot of our Rangers, Mavericks, and Stars games?
How about the UIL?
That too.
That too.
I know of a company they can partner with. Holler at your boy.
Hey, but Valley Sports, I mean, they I talked to at the Longview.
Wonder if we can go buy a bunch of their camera equipment.
Hey, y'all heard?
Do they even own their own?
They might be renting that stuff. You're right.
Yeah, true that. But hey, the girls at the thing, the girls at the Alito Longview game, were saying, how they were just talking about how they dove into the casinos and the sports betting and everything like that, and everything was moving so fast. And then to hear this, just a few months out, a few months post that,
Sounds like Mattress Mac might have bankrupted them.
he might have. Well, he lost. He would have put him back into work here recently.
I mean,
The
he
TCU
won
game,
$70 million.
The TCU game, he gave how much back?
$3 million.
And then
Got him for 2 or 3.
yeah, I mean, he's giving it back slowly.
Yeah,
but
don't
surely.
ever bet on Dallas.
He's giving it back slowly and surely. He
I
told
mean, you can't bet on the Texans, so.
Yeah.
Did you see the commercial? The TikTok he did today.
yeah, get off that sleep number and get you a Tempur-Pedic.
Yeah. He probably made his $3 million back on that.
Hey, Dak need to sleep. Dak need to sleep on something better, or he gonna be finding somewhere else to sleep.
You're sleeping on the side.
That's what it sounds like. I just wanted to ask you about that, Morgan, because I kind of talked to Dodie about it last night. I saw some people joking around, Aaron Rodgers and McCarthy meeting back up in Dallas, and try to send Aaron Rodgers out of the NFL on a high note with a Super Bowl.
I mean, guys, at this point, I don't care if Dak's our quarterback or not. Cooper Rush could be our quarterback for all I care. We ain't going to win nothing.
Brandon,
Aaron Rodgers can come down here if he wants. We ain't going to win nothing.
Exactly.
Brandon.
I mean, at this point, we're cursed.
What are your thoughts on like Aaron Rodgers possibly coming down to Dallas, and also the coaching decisions made in the past couple of days?
Well, I'm like Morgan. It don't matter if he comes there or not. We're not winning a ship. But like I said earlier, I don't think that just because McCarthy's there, he's not going to come there. That's not going to make him come there.
No, I mean, as a guy that's had both of those guys in the same place, they don't want to be with each other anymore. They know that that's not the right fit with each other on offense. They respect each other as individuals, but on a playing field, that's not where they belong.
Right.
Is Aaron Rodgers really that dude anymore?
I mean,
Can be.
Yeah, I think it could be. And then CeeDee Lamb's
This past season was rough.
coming to his own and be somewhat of a guy.
I mean, let me ask you
Depending on what
this.
happens with Tony
If
Pollard.
Aaron Rodgers is quarterback last Sunday, does Dallas win that game?
I think so. I don't know that Aaron Rodgers throws 2 picks in that game.
Well, one of them really wasn't his fault. I mean, it bounced off the receiver's arm.
I feel like it becomes a little bit more competitive. I mean, obviously a 19-12 game's competitive, but I feel like it gets pushed to that point even more. I don't believe we played the 49ers this year, and if we did, we struggled. That defense was just so good. I don't think that anybody was getting past that defense, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But then I also say like the kind of like I was talking about Patrick Mahomes' running ability. It doesn't really hurt you that he runs it, but it hurts you that he can run.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't really hurt you. It doesn't really hurt you that much that it's a different quarterback out there than Dak. But let's just say Aaron Rodgers was out there instead of Dak. It just makes your defensive scheme a lot different. It makes that young guy that's out there playing corner or has to come in and play the nickel position or whatever. He knows that Aaron Rodgers picks guys apart. You know what I'm saying? He knows these things about Aaron Rodgers that makes it harder to play defense. When you know Dak, he's going to give you 1 or 2. I know this as a defender. He's going to give me 1 or 2. I can relax. I can play back, and I can just wait on my 1 or 2 that he's going to give. And so I think that's the difference that a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers can make for a team like Dallas.
Got Lost Pizza today for lunch.
Okay, so I lost pizza.
We'll get enchiladas, tamales.
Morgan's daily food review.
Yeah, we're going to see what this is talking about today.
Tamales straight out of the lost pizza, the land of the lost.
It says hot tamales is what it says.
Okay, hot tamales. Go ahead, Brandon.
So for the season, Dak had a better rating than Aaron Rodgers this year.
Okay.
Rating.
And
Man, if we could win a Super Bowl on ratings, we'd have 30 of them.
I'm just
Between
saying,
Tony Romo and him.
you asked if Aaron Rodgers would be much better. According to the rating, no.
well, I would.
Hell, he didn't have a receiver to throw to.
That makes sense to me because, like he said, there wasn't a whole lot of receivers to throw to, especially at the beginning of the year. And then also, I feel like the Packers got out of their run game, which for some reason that confused me a whole lot. We have 2 really good running backs in Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon, but I don't think we utilized them as much now, especially having less of a receiving core this year.
Yeah, I think the QBR thing, Brandon always brings up the worst stat for the subject.
You always talking about numbers never lie. That's what you always say.
Yeah, but you go to the worst number for the situation.
A rating,
like,
a
QBR,
rating
but
that rates their whole performance.
yeah,
it's not a good stat.
But who's he throwing it? Who does he have
right.
to throw to? Who did Aaron Rodgers throw the ball to this year?
I mean, honestly, who did Dak throw the ball to besides Lamb? Like,
What do you mean?
they
That's at
traded
least
away
one guy.
their
That's at
number one
least one
receiver to
guy.
start
That's at
the
least one
year.
guy. We ain't gonna talk about y'all's tight
They
end.
were talking about for a month.
What about
they
y'all's
need to
tight
trade
end that
for
had a good year this
receiver.
year? What about y'all's tight end that had a good year? What's his name? The young
Dalton
cat.
Schultz.
Yeah.
Dalton Schultz. Yeah, he was a backup a couple years ago. He just
A couple
happened to be
years
the
ago,
starter.
everybody-
Dang,
was a
dude, if you
backup a
don't
couple
walk in the
years ago.
NFL and start, you're trash.
Yeah, dang.
Tua was back up.
We ain't going
Just
back
a
down
month
that
ago, they were
road.
talking about, Dallas needs to trade for a receiver because their receiving core sucks.
Y'all had like
That's the
5
answer.
guys hurt
That's
at
why.
once too, though. But I'm just saying.
You talk about their receivers.
So are you saying that Dallas
had?
had? Are you saying that Green Bay had a better receiving core than Dallas?
No.
Brandon walked
But
in
you're
here in
talking about
August and
Cowboys
said,
are
we need to
not
bring
much
Des
worse.
Bryant back.
Hey, I mean, Terrell Owens was on the Cowboys radar.
Yeah, he was
at
on that
one
radar.
point.
Y'all went from
That couldn't have been true. That had to have been just a Celtics.
I absolutely believe.
All right, man, we're going to try these tamales out.
Go ahead.
I believe that Terrell Owens is still in shape to come
I
out
think he's
there
still
and,
in shape,
and
too.
give you about 50 a game.
50 a
He
game.
would have been better than Gallup.
50 yards.
Lost pizza tamale with a little sauce on it. It's fire.
1 through 10.
It's good. I'm not a lifelong tamale eater,
Okay.
so don't really have a large area, but I'm going to say I could eat this 3 days a week.
Okay.
So we'll say 9.
3 days a week.
It's
give
got a little
them
spice
9.
to it, too. You know I like spice.
A little spice, so that
Nick
X's
can't
me
have
out.
it.
A little spice, so that X's me out from trying them.
Plus, their son's a big contributor on our team,
Okay.
on the Bucks that I coach. So,
What's y'all's? Go ahead and shout that record out for the books.
what are we, 8-1? 8-1. We really should have won our first game. We didn't have a practice.
Yeah.
So we just went out there and winged it. We beat the team again last week. So
Out there and bold.
we should be undefeated.
Shout
You
out
know,
my
but,
boy
hey,
Gameday.
you know, sometimes you got to humble yourself and lose one.
Yeah, it's better to lose it early than lose late, I guess. But I want to go back to Brandon. Over here, man. What is the answer in Dallas? Because you and Morgan are so set on being these lifelong fans that will never give up on a team and will stay on the ship as long as, even if it's sinking or whatever. So what's the fix in Dallas?
The fix is a new owner, for one.
The owner's going to win you a championship?
That's what
I'm just saying he makes all the wrong decisions. Everybody else talking about he makes the wrong decisions. I mean, that's all you ever hear is as long as Jerry Jones is there, we're not going to win another championship. That's
So-
what everybody said.
Because somebody said it, you believe it?
No,
Is Stephen Jones your
I'm
general
about to say,
manager?
but we know the new owner's still Jerry.
Is Stephen Jones the general manager?
Yes.
he's like the VP of football operations.
Well, I don't know. I just feel like the Cowboys don't need to be a family-owned,
Yeah.
kind of thing.
How would
need
it?
to hire
What difference does it make?
A non-family member.
They don't
GM.
play the game. They don't coach the game.
But a general manager bringing somebody in.
Do we
does
not have
matter.
players? Do we not have a good squad on paper? We just are
You're not
cursed.
bringing in free agents, though.
We just
That
brought
is
in
true.
T.Y. Hilton.
Hey, on the back end.
That was a bold thing, and you know it too.
But Dallas they bring guys in on the back end. That's their bread and butter. They bring guys in on the back end. So T.Y. Hilton's on the back end of his career. We're gonna get him at least money. Jerry Jones is a businessman at the end of the day. So the least amount of money for the most amount of production we can get out of a guy. That was T.Y. Hilton this year. Same thing he wanted to do with Odell, kinda. You banged up a little bit. You coming off injury. We want to get you for a little bit. Odell was kind of like no, and he didn't pass his physical. Then boom.
Shout out Lost Pizza. That was good.
They go all the way down the list from everybody that's been active in the past 10 years or whatever, and they go to T.O. because they know they can sign them for $1 and a dream. And, so I just think that's the thing about Jerry Jones. I don't know that a new owner saves you or helps you, but you do have the players.
Necessarily a new owner.
I mean, I guess we just
a new
forget
person
in the
making
'90s
football
we were the winningest team in the NFL.
Well,
it's
Dodie
also
was
been
born in
27
'01, so
years.
that doesn't matter.
I mean, yeah.
27 years.
We also don't have freaking Brett Favre at quarterback.
There
We don't
been-
have freaking Aaron Rodgers just
There-
randomly as a backup quarterback. Like,
That's not
y'all
ra-
get
but-
lucky with a lot of
but
that. A
what
lot of
they're
these
saying
teams
is
get
that's-
lucky.
What they're saying is that's not random.
But Dallas is supposed
Like
to.
Aaron Rodgers was in the backup position for a reason.
Dallas is supposed to be this
No,
premium
he's
team
a
where
first-round
everybody
pick.
wants to go. Why
Nobody
can you
has
not bring in
said
a
Dallas
star
Cowboys
quarterback?
are a premium team. If you heard that, you heard that when you were a kid. Nobody has said that in a long time.
Right.
They're America's
Except the
team.
fans.
I mean, that's
Except
what the
fans.
media call them. You don't hear me walking in calling them that.
And they're also a big
Only
market.
because y'all hang around more not Cowboys fans than y'all do hang around Cowboys fans. So I think you and Brandon are a little different because y'all kind of have the pipe down. If you were walking around with Cowboys fans all day, aka my family, they still America's team, blah, blah, why everybody want to watch us, blah, all that extra.
They gonna keep it real in the office, but when they get down there and down,
No, I mean,
and just wait until
listen,
August
there
25th or whatever. We're gonna hear the same exact thing.
there's a
again.
lot of
We're going to the
tradition.
Super Bowl.
When you go, like for instance, this year we sold our season tickets. I mean, it's expensive, but there's a lot of tradition when you go to a Cowboys game. One of the highlights for me was 2 years ago when they brought the '97 championship team back, and Jimmy Johnson does his he gets Jimmy Johnson last. Well, how about I got one thing to ask y'all? How about the Cowboy place went nuts?
Yeah.
Like it was fun. Walker was there with me, ton of fun. I mean, like there's history there and there's a winning tradition there. It's just since Troy Aikman's left, we're like, oh, every quarterback we supposedly have is like a mid to late draft pick. I mean, Tony Romo wasn't even drafted. I mean, it's like we're trying to get lucky with something that there's a reason they weren't drafted.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like Dak, like I guess I'm at the point now where anybody can throw for 5,000 yards in the NFL because he's just not that good.
He's not that good, but you said there's a
And,
winning
and
tradition.
Cooper Rush came in and
Is
won.
there still a winning tradition in Dallas? How long
No,
is
I'm
the
saying
tradition?
for my age.
Okay.
For my age, yes, because I'm old enough. I grew up like Cowboys every Sunday. Dion there, Emmitt Smith, Michael Irvin, Alvin Harper. Y'all probably know who Alvin Harper is.
Yeah.
Leon Lett. You know, like I grew up with them dudes. And then getting into the 2000s, DeMarcus Ware was a lot of fun to watch. But at the quarterback position, it's like they're just
Romo
not
was a lot of
willing
fun
to
watch.
take
He just
somebody.
wasn't winning.
Do what?
I said Tony Romo was a lot of fun to watch. He just
Yeah,
wasn't
I mean
winning
Tony
playoff
Romo.
Why y'all not-
I
why
always
don't
say
y'all-
at the
why-
end of a game, Tony Romo is going to cost you the game.
Why don't y'all ever bring up Quincy Carter, man?
I mean, why would we?
He did win a playoff game though.
Hey, shut up.
Hey, the
They're rare
Cowboys.
around Dallas.
I just don't understand why the Cowboys haven't drafted a quarterback. That is a good point you made. I don't understand
Yeah.
why the Cowboys haven't drafted a quarterback in all these
Well,
years.
beyond the draft, why don't you sign a big one in free agency?
That too.
There, you were kind of alluding to it. I mean, you don't have to get it straight out of the draft. There's so many different ways to get a quarterback.
But how often does an elite top 5 quarterback become a true free agent?
Well, okay, then beyond free agency, make a big trade. Trader.
I don't know if you know this or not, but the Cowboys they didn't even have a first round draft pick this last year, did they? No, they got Parsons the year before.
Yeah.
So it was 2 years they didn't even have a first round draft pick. They traded that shit for Amari Cooper.
Yeah, I do remember that.
And then
but
traded
Amari
him back
Cooper was a
away
good
for
pickup
Boston
for y'all, though. That was a good move.
Well, because you didn't want to pay him all that money.
Yeah, that was the first mistake for this year. is
That was a
trading
good
him away
move for y'all at
for
first,
nothing.
though.
I don't
He would've been
understand
real
why.
great in this game.
If
this
we're
last game.
if even if we pay a player, if we're still going to be under the salary cap, what difference does it make? Like who decides? Oh, he's not worth the extra $1 million. Like you're under the salary cap. Who cares?
Yeah, I don't know what goes down in Dallas. Some weird stuff.
Like
Amari
if Jerry
Cooper
Jones
move-
a billionaire, why does $1 million matter?
And I feel like
You're
that's
under the salary cap.
I feel like that's a huge thing. Why are you afraid to push the limit? Whenever you're trying to win football games, you should be trying to be like right on that like last.
Is the NFL like the NBA where you can go over the salary cap and just pay a luxury tax?
I don't think so.
I feel like they're a little bit more strict on it. I know the MLB is the least strict about
Yeah,
it.
the least strict about it.
Yeah, they don't
You
care
got
about
the money,
nothing.
you can have them.
Yeah. If you want to pay him however much, go ahead. You're gonna pay a luxury tax, but they don't care anyway.
Build as
We'll
many
talk
All-Star
about that in
teams
a little
you
bit
can.
too.
Yeah.
My goodness.
But if Jerry's gone, let's just say Jerry's gone, he sells the team.
He ain't gonna sell the team.
I don't think he sells the team
It's
either. I
gonna
think
be a
Steve
family.
just steps up. But let's just say Jerry sells the team, and that's just. You think that's just the answer? That's the end all be all. He sells the team. A new owner comes in. They draft the quarterback, first pick overall coming out of college, and that's the answer. Dallas is back to being Dallas, or what y'all know Dallas as.
Yeah, don't be jumping.
Do I
on the
think that would
bandwagon.
change? No.
I would never
Don't
jump
be
on
jumping
that.
on the bandwagon.
First of all, I don't
Somebody
jump
who-
on bandwagon. So we got
Like only it takes fans like Brandon to say stuff like that. We're never gonna win anything. Jerry Jones is the owner. Like, really? Because Bob Kraft was such a great owner that he was like, you know what? We need to draft Tom Brady. No, he had nothing to do with that decision. He got lucky.
How much of it is luck? How much of it is like we don't think? This
I
guy-
think a lot of it is luck.
What is Jerry Jones' title? Tell me right now what Jerry Jones' title is.
Probably chairman of the board and president/owner.
And general manager. He is the general manager. Y'all say Steven, but he is not. He is VP of the football operations. Jerry Jones makes the final decision.
Is
No matter
Jerry
what you
Jones
think,
bringing
he
in
is the
bad
GM.
football players?
We do not
Is
have a
Jerry
GM.
Jones bringing in bad football players?
No, but he's not bringing in great football players.
Exactly.
Are they out there to get?
He is building the team.
What do you mean are they out there to get?
I mean, you can't
Everybody
just
else-
go
Nobody falls
out
on
and
him.
spend all your
This is
money
the
on
thing, we
four
don't know.
players.
This is the thing. What I'm saying is, you don't know who's great until they're great.
When he had the best running back, he paid him. When Dak deserved $35 million, he paid him. Like,
You don't
I don't
know-
understand. When Micah Parsons, he ain't gonna let him walk. I mean, he's gonna pay him.
No, he ain't gonna let him
pays the
walk, but
great
how
ones.
many
I
have?
feel
How
like
many
he's
have
gonna
y'all
do
have
something
let
dumb and
walk?
let Micah Parsons go. Honestly,
How many have y'all let walk though? How many? You know what I'm saying?
Was
How
it
many-
warranted? DeMarcus Ware was at the end of his career.
And then he went and won a bowl.
That he didn't win a bowl. His team
I
won.
didn't
His
say
team won a Super Bowl.
He played at a
I
big
hate how you
factory.
individualize
he was
players.
he was a huge
What?
he was huge on that defense though. Can
He
we not? Can we
was.
not agree?
Well, we're gonna see what the internet thinks.
oh my goodness.
'Cause I don't think he was. I
Here
don't
we
think he
go.
was.
I'm just saying he left Dallas and got a bowl.
I feel like he played a key piece in that Broncos defense,
Yeah.
especially against the Panthers.
Pass rush was on 10.
Cam Newton.
What year
didn't do
was that?
nothing. 2015.
15?
Dang, boy.
Super Bowl
Don't
50.
seem like it was that long ago. He just be spitting it out.
I can remember half what Dodie forgot.
So the Super Bowl would have been in 16, season in 15.
Hey,
Mm.
DeMarcus.
Ware posted 25 tackles for the season and 1.5 sacks in 11 regular season games. That's a big piece.
And how
right
many
there.
regular season games?
11 is all he played in. I don't know if I'd call that a big piece. But Denver Broncos did have the number one defense. 12-4 record.
I just remember.
I hate
him.
it when I'm right.
I remember
You know,
having a lot
I'm
of
wrong.
pressure.
It's
Of that
I
defense.
remember him being in the quarterback's face that entire year. Maybe he wasn't getting
Here we
there all
go.
the way. He
Damn,
wasn't landing
does it-
home, but
does
Here
it
we
say
go.
anything about
He don't even
pressures?
have a squad, but
Does
he
it say
watched
anything
every
about
game.
pressures?
I say every game. I say every time I watched.
That's right.
That's right.
Broncos country. That's right.
Speaking of the worst trade of all time,
Oh my god. Well,
could that go down as the worst trade of all time? Was Russell Wilson?
I think it depends on head coaching now. If with Nathaniel Hackett out, if they can make something competent out of that offense and Russell Wilson can kind of thrive behind it, we'll see. I think it's a down the road trade, but after this first season, it could honestly
What did they give up for him? First round?
a
and
lot.
A lot.
First, second, and third, or something?
I don't know the exact, but I know they gave up a lot for him, and
Let's see.
it's blowing up in their face right now. What makes a quarterback just become bad? I know he went through
Traded.
the injury thing at the end of Seattle, but with the Russell Wilson that I'm seeing out there on the field not right now because they done, but
Exchange for
it looks.
It's
terrible.
weird the way
first
they did
round,
this.
Drew Lock, Noah Fant, defensive end, second rounder, and a fifth rounder.
I'm showing Denver's first and second rounds.
Yeah,
In each of the next two drafts.
yeah.
Dang, they gave up 2 1s and 2 2s? This is going to be the worst trade of all time.
Unless they can do what Dodie just said,
And they traded players.
make something out of it.
I
But
mean,
don't think they
Drew
can.
Lock isn't.
But and a fifth rounder as well.
Yeah, so it's a second and a fifth this year, and then a first and a second next year, and then 3 players.
That's a bad.
What was that? What was that player's name
But
that
I
that
think
got in
the
a
worst
fist
is
fight?
really D-Hop.
Who was the player that got in a fist fight with Russell Westbrook in Seattle, and they traded him to the Vikings over it? Percy Harvin.
It could have been Percy Harvin.
Remember,
that sounds right because Percy Harvin did go.
he said all that crazy stuff about Russell Wilson, about how he's not a bunch of stuff.
I feel like
And
Percy Harvin was before that, though.
was it Percy Harvin?
He said, "Y'all talking about future."
Anyway, yeah, like we can go all the way back to the end. I mean, they were speaking facts. Like Russell Wilson's not liked.
He's not. Nobody on the Broncos. Because why would you post any of that stuff on social media that he was doing if you liked him?
Do you think it's odd he has an office? I feel like that's not.
How he has an office at the Denver Broncos?
Yeah, at the facility. I feel like it's odd, but it's not crazy odd because he's going to be there watching film more than anybody else.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure
Do
a
other
lot of
quarterbacks have offices in there?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't.
I'm pretty sure that's.
I was about to say if not, then that is kind of weird. But hey, Chad Johnson, Ocho Cinco, he lived at the facility for a long time until they made him.
I think he's good about getting one-liners. I find that hard to believe.
No, what's it? The coach, the light skin, who was their coach at the time? Brandon, in Cincinnati. The light skin guy.
Is it Marvin?
Marvin.
Harrison?
Yeah.
No.
No.
Marvin Lewis.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
He made him. He confirmed it. He made him get an apartment. He was like, "You can't be doing this. Like, this ain't right. You need to get it. You need to get an apartment. Don't be living here. Don't be spending all your time on football or whatever." But I mean, yeah, if you're gonna be there that much, what's the point? What's the point in going home? Stay there, do your thing, watch film, do whatever you got to do.
But I mean, he has to go home and get back to those 8 bathrooms at some point, you know?
Hey, we got a fan walking on court.
Okay, so this was like a small mid-major college basketball game, but it was a staged prank that happened Wednesday night where a guy posed as an Uber Eats driver, and he delivered McDonald's onto the court. So he just walks onto the court in the middle of this basketball game, walks around the three-point line, and the ref's having to tell him, get off, and nothing really happens in the moment. And then you cut to it, and he's getting escorted off. But I mean, you got to think, how did this happen? How did you let him get to this point to where he's able to walk onto the court? And so the school then went into a process of reviewing their safety regulations and how they allowed that to how they let that happen.
So it was a prank. It was for publicity.
Yeah. Well, I would assume.
So Uber Eats paid a guy.
No. It's not Uber Eats. He posed as an Uber Eats driver. It was like a YouTube prank kind of thing.
Oh my God.
Yeah, just walked out.
What's wrong with kids these days?
I mean, everybody's doing it. We saw
And we were talking about that earlier with fans, they're doing stupid stuff, and these are the points for TikTok trends or for YouTube trends. And I mean, this could potentially lead to something even more dangerous.
I think what they need to
down the
do
line.
is you need to have your first 3 rows, and then after that you need to have a football stadium where it's elevated and you have barriers.
Yeah, but then you got.
But this
like
guy
Sam
evidently
Sharp,
walked
who's
through
sitting
the
in first 3
stadium
rows.
to deliver food
Yeah.
to a courtside seat. Yeah, y'all gotta hire better people.
You gotta hire better people than that. He should have, even if he was allowed to do it, he should have been escorted to the seat that you were giving the Uber, whatever seat you were supposed to be taking the food to.
I don't even know that he had a seat. From the way that the court is laid out, it looks like he's walking through the tunnel in a way,
Yeah.
and then comes out onto the court and just walks out there, and then they escort him out back through that tunnel.
Well, y'all know we had the fake Clay Thompson.
Oh
in
yeah,
Oakland.
yeah.
Or
That
whatever.
dude just does look like Klay
He
Thompson.
does look like
He
Clay
does.
Thompson, but not really.
I mean, if that dude just walked up, and you don't see Klay Thompson every day,
But they do.
and
That's
he's
the
dressed
thing.
accordingly.
He went to the place where you see Clay Thompson every day.
And
Well-
I mean,
And he had his whole uniform on walking up. Clay, how many times
Yeah,
did Clay
that's-
walk
that's
up in
not
his
gonna
whole
happen.
entire uniform? And the dude's like 30 pounds or 40 pounds on Clay.
but I
too.
mean, if you're not truly paying attention, you just catch him out of the corner of your eyes, oh yeah, Clay's here, whatever, cool. And you're not necessarily thinking about it, but I
Yeah.
mean, then again, you're not doing your job.
Hey,
so.
they banned that dude from Oracle. Well, it's not Oracle anymore though, so I don't know if it's
It's
still banned.
Chase Center.
Yeah, but he was banned from Oracle Arena for life for that.
Really?
So I mean, maybe if they start handing out punishments like that, it'll stop all this fan madness.
I mean, these kids are just YouTube stuff. I mean, you see all this. The kids around here do dumb stuff on YouTube.
Yeah,
They're
everybody
like, oh, this is funny, ha ha ha. We're gonna go mess with these guys bowling or something. Like, dude, you're going to get hit in the face.
Well, I mean, we saw like before COVID, like these kids like licking ice cream and then putting it back in
Yeah.
the freezer. Like that's gross. Like what are we doing?
Yeah, now the ice cream has.
And then they were eating Tide Pods.
Yeah.
Kids
yeah,
are
Tide Pod generation. That's Doty's friends.
I said
Yeah.
I hate my generation. Let's be honest with each other. I hate my generation.
y'all are not smart.
These kids that I'm like acquainted.
Dumbest thing we did was ride our bikes after dark on streets.
Yeah, and set stuff on fire. I think when I was a kid.
Yeah, we set a lot of stuff on fire.
Yeah. Just setting-
Just
I caught the woods on
arson.
fire behind my house one. This one I knew. There's when my dad says he knew I was never going to snitch on nobody. I caught the woods on fire behind our house, and it wasn't like, an acre. I'm talking about an entire forest. The entire forest didn't catch on fire, but there was nothing back there but forest. Like, if nobody came, it was going to be a real deal forest fire because the pine straw was down. It was the winter, and I tried to put the fire out, but the water hose wouldn't reach all the way back to the woods. So the water hose lines out. Dad rolls up. Fire truck comes. They get the fire out. And I'm standing there. Hear my dad tell it. I'm standing there holding a box of matches. And they asked me what happened. And I said, I didn't know.
I don't know.
I said, I don't know what happened.
I don't know.
I think everybody, probably from my age up to past y'all, has a catch the woods on fire, or a ditch on fire, or the yard on fire story. Because that was just the thing to do back then.
I'm sure matches have been around forever, but I felt like they just came out in like 1990. Because, man, I remember having that box of matches. Like I would sit and I don't even know what to call it anymore, a fort, I guess. And I would just sit up there, just lighting matches, just tossing them. That's how it happened. One fell through the 2x4s down onto the pine straw, and I'm sitting up in this fort, and the entire freaking ground's on fire around me.
No, sir. Bob can't, he can't handle that,
It's a
man.
different time back then.
I know we've talked about Alabama a lot here recently. But Alabama NIL Center, the NIL Center.
They have built a building strictly for NIL purposes. It's going to be called the Advantage Center. It's going to include a team of dedicated staff to provide education and resources for student athletes with respect to NIL opportunities, as well as a location to showcase successful local and national NIL relationships. So, I mean, we see guys like Jalen Hale and people coming in who are going to be able to capitalize more on their NIL opportunities here in this center. And you can see on the screen, we have a picture of what it's going to look like. I mean, so does this – I feel like – is this going to make Alabama at an even higher step, focusing more on NIL stuff, which it seems like Nick Saban has kind of been hesitant to reach out on. Does this kind of even –
This is all smoke and mirrors right here. Let's all be honest. They're giving these kids money.
Yeah.
And have y'all seen an influx in college athletes in commercials?
No.
No, I haven't either.
Outside of Kool-Aid.
The school is giving these kids money. They're funneling it in under some kind of program, and they're saying, "Oh, this is an NIL deal," but they're doing nothing for this money. Oh, do a social media post, and we'll give you $500,000.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have that kind of reach. Kim Kardashian has that kind of reach.
Yeah.
You don't have that kind of reach. Like, they're giving kids money. So this is all just like to make it look legitimate. Ain't nobody gonna be in this building.
Yeah, that's that. I've seen that argument come out already. What you're saying right there, and I've also seen this is just Alabama doing what Alabama does. Okay, before NIL was a thing, everybody was going to Alabama because it was about the championships and the tradition, and you want to play for a coach like Nick Saban. So if Nick Saban comes to your house, you're going to Alabama. Well, now, yeah, it's all good and everything that you're here, Coach Saban. Nice to meet you. You know, I've always wanted to, but Florida said they got 10 million waiting on me, 2 million waiting on me. You know what I mean? So what does Nick Saban do? All right, NIL is the new wave. That's where we're rolling. Well, guess what? This is going to be the best spot to get an NIL. So I think it's just another way that Alabama's making themselves the destination to go play college football.
And from what I read, and they're kind of setting it up as like a future plan even beyond Nick Saban. We know that Nick Saban's the big draw to that Alabama program and the history that they have, but having this NIL center and the NIL opportunities afterwards, once he's gone, that was something big that they've kind of planned, and I think it's like a 15-year plan that they already have, which I'd assume Nick Saban's not going to be there 15 more years.
No.
So I think it's a good move, planning for their future as well.
Shout out to Tagovailoa.
Yeah, shout out to Jalen
All right, so
Hurts.
let's stick with college football.
Okay, say it,
Morgan, one of your things that you wanted to bring up was LaMichael James.
Shout out to my boy.
Yes, sir.
Hall of Fame class of 2023. December 5th, he'll be in Vegas to be I guess inducted in the College Football Hall of Fame. I think I'm going to make that trip.
That's gonna be legit.
That'd be incredible.
Yeah, I mean that's humongous. Obviously for him, first and foremost, huge accomplishment. And then for the city of Texarkana, man, that's huge. For Liberty Islo, that's huge.
We got to get a street named after LaMichael.
Yeah, I mean, think about that. The College Football Hall of Fame. That's everybody can't get in, obviously.
Maybe this needs to be the Phone Pros LaMichael James Studio.
Phone Pros LaMichael James Studio. Hey, we gotta get a call in first. We gotta get a call in for that first.
The Killer Burger Studio, the LaMichael James Killer Burger Studio at Phone Pros.
We got the longest studio name in history. But is what right, Jennifer?
Like amounts and win that amount. I got 3 25,000s.
No, you ain't got nothing.
You didn't get anything.
It says match 3 like amounts and win that amount. I just scratched 3 25,000.
No,
You
no.
scratched 3 more?
Well, you scratched 3 more.
No, 3.
Are you handing these out to everybody?
Did I just win that?
Oh, were there more than just that one?
Match 3 like amounts and win that amount. 25.
You won 25 grand?
25,000.
Let me see.
Don't touch it.
Oh, man.
We've been had.
Hey, she scratched.
Yeah. We've been had.
But I mean, we look at this guy. I mean, obviously he's from Liberty Island, so he means a lot to us. But I mean, if you just look at his stats, I mean, he deserves it. 5,082 rushing yards, 53 rushing touchdowns in his career. He finished third in Heisman voting in 2010, and it was a consistent All-American that year too, which is obviously a requirement to get in. And so it's a huge accomplishment and definitely deserved for sure.
He was that dude. He was must-see TV. Definitely. I remember staying up late because they played at like midnight. Mm-hmm. It was dumb. But you had to stay up and watch him.
Yeah.
And if you missed him, he was going to be the first thing on ESPN Sunday morning.
Exactly. And luckily I got to watch him, all through high school while he was in high school. Obviously PGA big rivalry game. Although he never got to finish one of those games, he would go crazy, while he was in. And then seeing him in the playoffs, I remember they played Gilmer one year in the playoffs, and I'd never seen anybody run the ball like that. And then he goes to college, and it's like he never missed a beat. You know what I'm saying? He just jumped right into college, and he was doing the same thing that he was doing at Oregon that he was doing out there at Harrisfield. The same exact stuff.
Yeah.
It didn't look any different, so that's when I knew.
His career almost didn't happen.
Yep.
That punch. I can't even remember the guy's name.
Me either. I don't remember
But if you watch college football, you remember it was huge news at the
LeGarrette
time.
Blount.
LeGarrette Blount. I mean, I ain't going to call it sucker punch because that dude had it coming.
Yeah.
But, man, what are the odds that camera's on him when he throws that punch? That's such bad luck. If that camera's not on him, he doesn't get suspended.
He doesn't get suspended, and we see LaMichael eventually.
Yeah, you see LaMichael eventually.
But we don't see him
But,
right
dude, he
there.
took over the entire country the week after that. And that was right when they were coming out with the new stuff every week.
Yep.
I mean, you could make an argument LaMichael was one of the biggest athletes in the country at that time, NFL or college.
Yeah, because he was first of all, Nike runs sports. We know that. And Oregon, they're tied with Nike, and they were dropping. Like you said, they were dropping uniforms daily. Every week they were coming out with something new. That's what you were watching Oregon games to see what they were going to come out in, and he was the guy. He was the front runner for him.
He got that coach, the NFL job. I feel like.
Yeah.
I mean, him and Cam Newton were the guys
At
back
that time,
then.
yeah.
They were the standouts in college football,
And they played in the Natty, right?
Yeah, they did. Auburn ended up coming out on top in that game. But
Shout out LaMichael James, man.
Yeah.
I don't know who all knew before I did, but he messaged me a day or two before, sent me a picture of the letter, said, I got some tea for you. And I thought, oh, man, something happened, And he messaged me, sends me a picture of it, and I was like, man, congratulations. Big deal.
Yeah, that's a huge deal.
Super happy for him, man. Doak Walker Award winner,
Yep.
Heisman finalist, Texarkana's greatest college football player, Michael James.
Most definitely.
All right. Well, I do want to stay in the College Football Hall of Fame.
Let's stay in it.
Under the current regulations, Stetson Bennett would not be eligible to make the College Football Hall of Fame. Do you think they need to adjust the requirements?
No.
So the requirements currently is you need to be a first-team All-American. Stetson Bennett was never a first-team All-American.
Okay.
Do you?
Hold on. So is your argument he won championships?
I feel like he was a great story for college football, and I feel like he deserves to be in the College Football Hall of Fame. I mean, he won 2 national championships as
Man, maybe it's like an honorable. Here's my problem with these arguments, and part of the problem is y'all's Jalen Hurts argument as well. Football is a team sport. A quarterback, you have to have a good quarterback to win it all, but that's not the end all be all. Y'all act like Stetson Bennett won Georgia. He was throwing to wide open receivers against TCU. Was he not throwing to wide open receivers?
I mean, against TCU, but we're not talking about the TCU. He played against way.
Their team was so much better the last 2 years. The last 2 years, that team is so much better than everybody else.
Yes,
Yeah,
I completely agree. I'm not arguing that. I'm saying.
Well, my answer is no. I don't think they need to change requirements.
But like, if you think about it,
I don't think they do.
He came in as a walk-on, went to be a JUCO player, then came back against all odds. Nobody thought that he was going to be good at all. JT Daniels was supposed to be the guy. JT Daniels gets hurt. Stetson Bennett comes in and does exactly what he needs to. And you can't ask for anything more. He wasn't necessarily the greatest player of all time in college football. I'm not saying that. But he came in and did what he needed to do, won 2 national championships with a good Georgia team, of course.
Great Georgia team.
A great Georgia team, yes. That best defense, well, one of the best defenses in college football last year, and one of the greatest teams in college football this year. I mean, I don't know that they need to adjust the regulations, but I do think it is a little tough that he's not going to be in there.
I don't think he needs to be in there, and I'm going to tell you why. Quinn Ewers would have won a national championship with Georgia. The SFA quarterback would have won a national championship with Georgia.
The TCU quarterback.
The TCU quarterback would definitely have won a national championship with Georgia. Akari Johnson would have won a national championship with Georgia.
Hey, check this out. I don't know that all that's true.
It's true.
I think Stetson Bennett is
I'm not saying Stetson Bennett's bad.
But
that
really
team
good.
was
He's
way
really
better
good,
than everybody
He's really
else.
Good, though. Like, he could have went to Texas and made them better.
I mean, here's
That's
my
the thing. Like, that's the thing.
I don't think that's true. Here's my point being.
That is true.
He's projected as a 5th to 7th round pick. Couldn't have been that good.
That's because of his age and his
He's
size.
25 years old.
Age and size is what's the
First
reason.
off, if he makes the Hall of Fame, we're putting him in the same category as Tim Tebow. He's not Tim Tebow. He's not that dude.
We can say that
Stetson
about a lot of Hall of
Bennett,
Famers.
to
Hey,
answer
hold on.
everybody's
We can say that
question.
about a lot of Hall of Famers. There's a lot of that's why Dion and all them are saying like there should be a hall over here and a hall over here.
I agree with Dion.
Yeah. So that's
Stetson
so
Bennett
we can
don't
say-
deserve to be in the Hall of Fame because he had 2 good seasons.
He has 2 national championships. How many?
But were they?
quarterbacks-
So hold on.
How many college football quarterbacks are in there that don't have that?
So let's put the center, the guard, the tackle, all wide receivers. Let's put everybody in the Hall of Fame because they got 2 national championships.
The same way we're gonna run them in the ground if they're trash. We gotta lift them up when they're good.
But it's not just him that was good.
If the Dallas Cowboys
and he
were winning
wasn't great.
championships,
He was
if the
just
Dallas Cowboys were
all
winning
it took.
championships. We wouldn't be talking about Dak.
All it took was anybody being good. They would have won that national championship. He's not a Hall of Famer.
How many college quarterbacks have 2 national championships back to back?
I don't know that off the top of my head.
Not a lot.
So
He's in rare company is what I'm saying.
He should just be in the Hall of Fame because of a team award.
2 national championships. He's a Heisman Trophy finalist too.
Are we going to put everybody in the Hall of Fame because they
He's
won?
a Heisman candidate finalist.
Can we put the left tackle in the Hall of Fame
He ain't a
since he
Heisman
won 2
Trophy. He
straight?
ain't a Heisman Trophy finalist.
Hell, he can't be a Heisman
That
Trophy
ain't my
finalist.
fault.
It ain't.
That's how it shakes out. The way
was
of the
a
land
Heisman
is the
Trophy
way of the
finalist
land.
this
We
year,
can't
actually.
change
The
that.
left tackle was.
No,
I'm just saying. If we're going to put him in there, put everybody in there.
Stetson Bennett was a Heisman Trophy finalist
That's
this
what I'm
year.
saying.
But he wasn't the X factor.
Was he? I don't know that he wasn't though. I mean, in a lot of games, he did some crazy stuff.
They were going to win games.
How many other
with or
players
without
on
him.
Georgia can you name besides Stetson Bennett?
I don't follow
What
Georgia.
is this? Oh, she didn't throw me some gloves.
I don't watch Georgia like that.
Exactly.
But if the national media wasn't covering him so heavy, you wouldn't think he was great either.
I don't think he's.
And you wouldn't know who he was.
I think that he. I think he. Go ahead.
I don't think he should have been a Heisman finalist. He wasn't as good as we necessarily want to praise him, but he did what he needed to do. He came in against all odds, against his background, and came in.
I'm not saying he's a bad quarterback.
This is my thing.
Winning the national championship a couple times doesn't make you a Hall of Famer, is what I'm saying.
But that's an achievement that very few reach.
5 years from now, we're going to be like, who's that quarterback?
I don't think so.
I think we will. Okay.
Put his resume up against
Who won the
another
national
QB.
championship in 2015?
In 2015, Ohio State, the quarterback was the big dude. Not Dwayne Haskins, Cardale Jones.
Yeah, but he's a backup.
You know what I'm saying?
A third stringer. We remember a third stringer from
Cardale Jones was a #1 overall pick, right?
No,
He was a top 5 pick.
no.
He's a
Who am I
third
thinking
string
about?
quarterback. They had
Cardale Jones didn't get drafted.
He went to the Washington Redskins.
That was Dwayne Haskins.
Dwayne Haskins.
Dwayne Haskins.
And that was way later.
R.I.P.
Yeah, I'm about to say.
But who?
Commanders.
Yeah, he and Commanders. Yeah, gonna get us out of here.
He was.
It was
They were
Braxton
Redskins
Miller,
when he
JT
went.
Barrett,
Yeah,
and then Cardale Jones.
All right, well, to answer your question, no, I don't think they should change.
This is the thing right here about him. This is what I'm saying. I can guarantee you can go through the College Football Hall of Fame quarterbacks, and he has a better resume than somebody that's in there. And if that's the case, then maybe he should be in. But no, I don't believe they should move the goalposts. He didn't make All-American. He didn't make the All-American. That's all there is.
Who was the quarterback's first team All-American this year?
First team All-Americans, Hendon Hooker and Bryce Young.
Sounds right.
That's good.
That sounds legit.
Yeah, and my problem then comes in was why wasn't Hendon Hooker a Heisman finalist, and why was Stetson Bennett? Stetson Bennett didn't even make first team All-SEC.
I mean,
Because the
I think you have to factor in how good their team is.
winning puts you in
Yeah.
over a lot of
But
stuff.
I think Hendon Hooker had the better year. Hendon Hooker,
mean,
in my
for
mind-
instance-
Because Bryce Young wasn't either.
I'm going to go through some of these scores.
Go through his numbers. We don't care about the score.
No, because I need y'all to understand how good Georgia as a football team is.
we know how good.
49-3, 33-0, 48-3. Against Kent State, somehow they scored 22 points, 49-22. Then Missouri,
That was a close game till the end.
yeah, 26-22. That was a close game. I don't feel like the best quarterback in the country should be struggling against Missouri. 42-0, 55-0, 42-10, 27-3, 45-3, 16-6, 37-9, 50-30 against LSU in the semifinal, or not the semifinal, in the SEC championship. 42-41 against Ohio State, and then 65-7. Let's don't act like their defense isn't elite.
I'm not saying that.
We weren't
But I'm
arguing
saying,
that.
like, he could have scored 10 points in 8 ball games and
Put
they
his
win.
Put his college resume up against some guys in the Hall of Fame, and I'm going to. It's going to be his resume is going to be better than at least.
Well, I mean,
one
if you go
quarterback.
back to the 80s and 90s, they weren't throwing the ball. I mean, his numbers are good. 368, 300, 284, 272, 312, 200, 189, 316, 257, 289, 100 yards, 55 yards. I'm sorry, 116 yards, 140 yards, 274, 398, 304 in the national
And I
championship
mean,
game.
you can make-
He had a good season.
You can make
but
a
he's
talent
not.
argument with anybody, though. I feel like, but beyond that, because he was the underdog and he was still able to succeed, I feel like that's what makes that even better. Joe Burrow had 3 all-star wide receivers next to him and an incredible defense, and we still want to praise him, and he's going to be a college football Hall of Famer.
But we
Of
knew,
one
but we
year.
knew he was that dude, though. I
What
think
makes
We
Joe
didn't
Burrow-
know. We didn't
I
know
mean,
he was going to be that
he
dude.
was drafted first round. He's not a 5th to 7th round guy.
But after that year, we had 1 year of him at LSU, and they went
He
to
was
a bowl
literally a
game.
backup for 2 years.
He was at Ohio State. We never saw him. He came to LSU. He was decent. They went to a bowl game, lost to UCF, and that's what made him into Joe Burrow. And then he came in, went undefeated, and had the best college football team of all time. And they came in and
One of.
handled business.
Just to give you all an idea.
One of the best.
I never got to see 2001 Miami.
That was the best football
You don't
team
have
ever.
to. They had 31 draft picks on that team.
Yeah.
I mean,
You ain't got to.
I know
Spencer
I know
Sanders
who's on that team.
is Stetson's comp, is what they say as far as a passer.
Who
Spencer
is?
Sanders?
Spencer Sanders.
He's going to-
Spencer Sanders.
He's going to Ole Miss this year.
Is they're saying that's who Stetson's comp is. That they were basically the same quarterback. They have about the same amount of yards, except for this guy plays at Oklahoma State with so-so players. Stetson Bennett plays at Georgia with great players.
I mean, yeah. Again, I think we're saying the same thing, but again, I don't think he's an elite quarterback. but I do think that he deserves his flowers.
But Tim Tebow wasn't.
I mean, nobody said he didn't. I just don't think he's a Hall of Famer.
Tim Tebow wasn't an elite quarterback. Florida was stacked.
Well, hold on. That was a different time in
Florida
football.
was stacked.
That was
Come
a different
on.
time. I'm not saying they weren't.
The killer,
but
Percy
Tim,
Harvin,
Tim
they had
Tim
all those
Tebow
guys.
was the reason they were winning all those games.
How can you sit? That's the same
Because,
situation.
dude,
He
Tim
was
Tebow-
average or below quarterback.
Tim Tebow led that team. I mean, that's when they were running options. They were running the ball constantly. They weren't just
Stetson
Yeah,
throwing
they
the
were
ball.
running the ball. And
Like
they,
it did
yeah,
all
they were doing
everything.
jet sweeps to Percy Harvin and all that.
Everything went. Tim Tebow did everything.
What?
Tim Tebow may be the greatest college football player of all time.
That is so crazy to say. That's the most cap thing you have ever said and I've ever heard you say. That's a branding statement that I just heard you make.
Who would go down as a better
I
college
got 4 quarterbacks better than Tim Tebow right now.
as a better college football quarterback?
Yes.
All right, who?
I got Vince Young, Cam Newton, Lamar Jackson. You can go to any Alabama quarterback
Joe
in the
Burrow.
last.
So
7
y'all talk
years.
about elite company. Did Tim Tebow or did he not win 2 national championships in a row?
Yeah, he did.
Yes, and he's in the College Football Hall of
Did
Fame.
he play for 4 national championships?
Did he play for 4?
No, I'm
No.
not sure about that.
He started 4 years,
He didn't play for.
won
4
the
years.
Heisman twice. Who else won the Heisman twice?
I don't know.
Dude from Ohio State.
I'm just saying.
Well,
you can't say, "Oh, Cam
Who's
Newton's
the-
better." When Cam Newton,
No, his
he
quarterback.
won one. He won 1 national championship. Y'all are putting him above Tim Tebow? No.
And Heisman.
And a Heisman.
Tim Tebow won 2.
And an undefeated.
Tim Tebow won 2.
Archie
Tim Tebow had
Griffin.
2 undefeated
I was
seasons.
thinking of.
But I'm saying,
Running
but
back.
you're proving my point right now. That
No, you
anybody,
can't-
you could have put anybody in that Florida
No,
team.
no, no,
just
not
like
on that
Stetson
Florida
Bennett.
team.
Tim Tebow's average quarterback. He's average quarterback.
Oh, wow.
He's the greatest college football player, is what I'm
What I'm
saying.
saying is this to the Stetson.
Did,
Bennett
am I
argument.
calling Tim
To
Tebow the greatest
Stetson Bennett
greatest
argument.
quarterback
To the
ever?
He's in the
Tim
College Football
Tebow
Hall of
played in a
Fame.
time
He's in
where
the-
where they weren't throwing the ball like they are
in the
now.
College Football Hall of
Even
Fame.
when Cam Newton, they weren't throwing the ball.
But Stetson Bennett was throwing it. You act like he ain't throwing the ball right now.
If you couldn't
And
put
Stetson
Stetson Bennett in
Bennett
Florida's
runs the ball,
offense,
too.
Yes, you could.
no, you couldn't.
Why not?
Because
Did
they
you
ran a
see-
different style
Did
offense.
you
don't
see how
matter.
much he ran against
Okay.
TCU? I think he had 2 rushing touchdowns against TCU.
He's been
TCU
he
was done.
Stetson
And
Bennett-
first off,
Stetson Bennett was on
TCU
ESPN
is
top
the
10
worst
like 2 or 3
national
times this year for
championship
running the ball.
Texas.
team
We beat
to ever
Texas.
play
We beat
in the
Texas.
national
We beat
championship team.
Texas.
And Texas didn't play in the
We
national
beat
championship
Texas.
game.
We beat
They're the
Texas.
worst team to
We
ever
beat
play in the
Texas.
national championship game.
Correction.
Notre
Correction.
Dame probably was actually that Notre Dame
Correction.
team
Tim
against
Tebow
Alabama.
No,
only
nobody's
won
gotten it beat as bad as TCU in a national championship game.
Correction. Tim Tebow only won 1 Heisman, by the way.
Only one Heisman.
He
so
was
that's more
3rd in
cap in your
2008 and
statement.
5th in 2009.
Cam Newton has won every award at every level possible, with the exception of Super Bowl.
Hey, and I mean,
darn
there's
close,
no way
too.
you can say that Tim Tebow was not an average quarterback. He was on a stacked team, and they made a great run, not taking nothing from him. Same thing as Stetson Bennett came into a program on a great team and made a great run out of it. Same exact
9-4 in
situation.
2007.
Was Stetson Bennett the leader of the Georgia football team? I don't know. I don't watch them.
Yeah,
Okay. So you would say T's is good or greater of a leader than Tim Tebow?
as a greater of a leader. No,
Yeah.
I think Tim Tebow is a great leader. He's a great Christian man, great on and off the field. I don't know really much about Stetson Bennett's personal life, but Tim Tebow's is all out in the media. So yeah, I think Tim.
Are they going to build a
better
statue
leader.
of Stetson Bennett at Georgia?
I don't know. He's a back-to-back QB.
Give y'all some
championship.
numbers. Evidently, he threw the ball. Tim Tebow threw the ball a lot more than
Yeah,
I
I'm
thought
looking
he
at
did.
it too. He threw a lot of balls.
3,300 yards as a sophomore, 2,800 as a junior, 2,900 as a senior. He threw the ball. Hey, and like not really any interceptions. 3, 4, and 5. Averaging 9.4, 9.2, 9.2 yards per pass.
More pass TDs than Stetson Bennett.
Yeah,
So he's
88
only like
for his
25.
career. And he really, I mean, Stetson Bennett really only played 2 years. We got to keep that in mind.
Yeah.
But like,
All I'm saying
hey,
is,
And really,
he has
1.5.
3,000 yards over his career in rushing. Tim Tebow does.
yeah.
So-
Stetson
That was
Bennett
more of
only
his
played
game.
2 years. He rushed the ball he rushes the ball very good, throws the ball good. He's on a great team, just like Tim Tebow. Won back-to-back national championships. Why is that take away from him because Georgia's good, but you're not taking away from Tim Tebow because Florida was good?
57 touchdowns in 2 seasons.
That doesn't answer my question.
1.5. Really.
He's throwing it to Percy Harvin and Aaron Hernandez too. So, I mean, what are we saying here?
I mean, Stetson.
You said he had how many touchdowns in how many years?
Let me find it. 57. Is that rushing? I don't know. Let me go back. I got off the page I was on.
That's all I know is you can't take away from Stetson Bennett because Georgia is good, and you ain't taking away from Tim Tebow when Florida was obviously good. Tim Tebow wasn't doing that with nobody, and he was just out there balling. And they was winning national championships because Tim Tebow was out there balling. That's what you're trying to make it sound like. But then on the Stetson Bennett argument, you're trying to make it sound like, oh, the receivers are so good, the defense is so good, and Stetson Bennett's just average. Anybody could have done that.
Let me pull up Florida's defense that year. Let me see if they were beating people, and people only scoring 3 points on them all year.
Well, I know his sophomore year they only went 9-4, and then they would have like one loss every.
Man, how
other
can a team
year.
go 9-4 when everybody's on the team? When everybody's so good that's on the team.
What do you mean?
That was his sophomore year. That's 1 year. That's 1 year.
9-4 is a terrible record.
1 year.
9-4 is a terrible record.
But you're saying you're basically saying he has the best players in the country on the team. How could they do that?
He did have the best players in the country.
Alabama lost 3 games this year,
Like, I don't know.
and yet they're supposed to have the best players by far. Sometimes it just doesn't work out.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I just think we moved the goalpost for who we want to move it for.
Yeah, this 2009 Florida team, the least of they did give up 3 points, 3 points to Charleston Southern, 6 points to Troy. When they got in SEC, everybody scored at least 28 on them. So I don't think you're kind of right. And Georgia and them aren't the same team.
How many games did they
Georgia
lose? How
would-
many games did they lose?
They didn't. They lost one to Alabama in the SEC championship
So how
game.
was that defense not good and they lost?
Well, they were
I mean,
giving
they
up. They
didn't
were
lose.
giving up a bunch of points.
They didn't lose, though.
They lost to Alabama in the SEC
Points.
championship game.
What
But
was
they're
the
giving
score?
up a lot more points than Georgia is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, they were
But-
giving. They
but
gave
why-
up more
why
points
is
than
it,
Georgia, but other things go into that than them. Like you can say, that defense wasn't good. They gave up 23 points a game. They just never lost.
I don't feel like that should be a fault on Stetson Bennett though, just because he does have
That's
a
what I'm
good
saying.
defense. I mean, it just adds to
The
it.
team being good
You still-
around the
you still
quarterback
have
shouldn't
to-
make them worse.
You
Like
still
it
have
should-
to capitalize on offense, which he did.
Okay, we'll just agree to disagree.
I feel like you're saying that having a good team around you makes you worse, or you don't get as much credit.
I mean, you really don't, though.
But you're giving Tim Tebow all the credit.
He's the greatest college football player of all time.
So when we going, he had Percy Harvin, Aaron Hernandez.
I'm not the only one that thinks this. He was voted as the best college football player of all time.
I just think
It's not like
that's just off the
it's
church.
not like
That's
this is
just
a
from the
Morgan
church.
statement.
That's
He-
just from the church.
Look,
We know that's
look it up.
That's
He
just
is.
from the church. We know that. Come on now. That's just from the church. If he wasn't kneeling in the end zone, nobody's saying he's the best ever.
but,
that's
like,
all I'm saying.
At
He
the
wasn't
same
kneeling
at
in
the
his
same
zone.
time, you say that, but then the same reason that you discredit Stetson Bennett, you're not discrediting Tim Tebow for the
Exactly.
exact same reason, and I think that's
Because
that's
Georgia would beat
issue.
the brakes off this Florida team. This Georgia team is one of the best teams ever.
I don't know. I don't know that to be true. You're going to say this is one of the best
different
Georgia teams ever, but their quarterback's average.
Yeah, I do think he's average.
But one of the best Florida teams of all
One
time,
of the best college football teams ever play as an average
the
quarterback.
best quarterback of all time.
I just don't understand. I don't understand how you can argue one side and then completely dismiss it on the other.
Bleacher Report. Tim Tebow voted the greatest college football player ever.
Ever.
I don't know, man. A bunch of people agree with me.
Hey, you kneel in the end zone.
Come in.
He played 3 years, started 2, played in 3 national championships, won a Heisman, was in the finalists 2 other times. You know, they just don't give you a Heisman 2 times in a row. They just don't do that anymore.
He didn't
Nobody's
win the
done
Heisman
it.
twice.
But that's what I'm saying. If they did that, he would have. But they don't give it to you twice anymore.
Man, all I know is all I know is
Hey, y'all give him a one of these.
Tim Tebow is Tim Tebow. I appreciate everything Tim Tebow did for the game. I think he was good for the sport. I think it was, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, that team around him was super stacked. If we knocking off for people having stacked teams around them, then I gotta knock him off for that.
The best college football player of all time.
I can't. Player is hard to say. You got to go quarterback, running back.
Everybody
I think you can say
got
player.
one. Good luck.
You can say player. I don't think you can say. I mean, you can say position. I don't think you can say player ever. Best college player ever.
I mean, that's what Bleacher Report says.
You know what I'm saying? On anything. But I know I'm picking. If I'm sitting there picking a team, so the same people that clicked on Tim Tebow's name for that Bleacher Report, if they're starting a team right now and they the GM, head coach, whatever, they ain't drafting Tim Tebow.
I feel like they picked him because he was consistent all 4 years. I feel like that's why he sticks out more. If we're talking about like single season, Joe Burrow sticks out more. Cam Newton sticks out more at Auburn. 2005, Vince Young, and then Mike Vick always.
Hey, the elite.
I'm moving to Dallas
most elite quarterbacks don't stay in college for 4 years either. So I put that out there.
What'd you say?
Most elite quarterbacks don't stay in college for 4 years, especially
Yeah.
when they start their freshman year.
Yeah.
He didn't start his freshman year.
I thought he started for 4 years.
No, he started one game when he was a freshman.
What you got over there?
Read that again very carefully.
2006, he started 14 games as a freshman. Or he played in 14 games as a freshman.
How many you scratch off as long as you
22 for 33.
What do you win?
25 grand. That's cap. Look at it.
$30 service fee. Hey, Brandon, why you talking about service fees and all that? I just thought about something. I need a new screen protector. I dropped my phone and shattered my screen protector the other night.
Did you buy your first screen protector from Phone Pros?
I did buy my first screen protector.
Well, $7 to get you another one.
And hey, so if anybody needs a screen protector, come up to Phone Pros and get one from Brandon. I'm telling you, I dropped my phone from about 10 feet, and it literally shattered. I thought my phone was done for. It shattered my entire screen, and I peeled that thing off or whatever. My screen's all good. So shout out to Phone Pros.
And Brandon, I kind of want your opinion on this. Who do you think is the greatest college football player of all time? Being a Texas fan and getting to watch Vince Young, what did you think?
I'm with Morgan. I think Tim Tebow is the best,
Really?
but Vince Young is right there next to him.
So let me ask you this
I
question.
don't believe Vince Young's
If
right there next to him.
You know what you know now about Vince Young and Tim Tebow, about what they're going to do in college or whatever. You gonna pick him over your boy VY to be your quarterback? I want to see how loyal fans really are, because it don't seem like y'all really that loyal when we get down to the nitty gritty.
I don't think you're going to lose either way is the thing. Like, you can pick
Who
either
you
one.
picking? I ain't asking
like-
you either way. Who you picking?
I mean, I'll roll with Vince Young.
Okay
Texas.
then.
Yeah, I
Okay
mean,
then.
as a Texas fan, I'm going to roll with Vince Young too. But
If I
that
would have
don't
made that little statement, I think y'all's answer would have been different. But go ahead.
go ahead.
And I
Lou.
think if we talk about overall career, Vince Young ended up lasting longer in the NFL. So, I mean, I
We're
would,
just talking about college career. Y'all know Stetson
No,
Bennett
I'm
ain't going to
just
last the
talking about- I'm just
NFL.
talking about
No,
college. I'm
no,
just talking
I
about
know he's
college.
not.
College.
I just think if you put Vince Young in that Florida situation, I mean, you think they win less national championships? You know what I'm saying? Like, or more.
You on an airplane for a long flight, 6-8 hour flight, and you get to pick one player to watch their highlights for the duration of the plane. You gonna go with Tim Tebow?
He had some great moments in his career.
I mean, but if they were anybody you could pick, you're gonna pick Tim Tebow.
Just for highlights,
Highlights, yes.
I'm probably going to pick Teddy Ginn Jr.
That's a good one.
just for highlights.
I'm probably gonna pick. This is a crazy one, but I love this highlight, and it's the Nature Boy, South Carolina, DJ Swearinger, best highlight ever put together. Oh man, DJ Swearinger, his highlight. I mean, I don't know if I've seen anybody hit somebody that hard that many times. I mean, probably one of the best safeties ever that won't
Did he win? What do you win?
they won't get anything.
you done handed that to the wrong person.
You handed the wrong ticket to the wrong person.
I'll give you all each a grand.
Motherfucker, I bought it. I get half.
No, come on.
No, come on.
Dropping F-bombs on the line.
we had an S-bomb yesterday, too. Oh,
Straight
well.
cancel, boy. But hey, we got some offers, man, in the area. I know I'm jumping down the list a little bit, but I don't want to get too far down in here before we get these out here.
Let's
'cause
move it along. I ain't trying to go to 2 today.
Yeah, it's one of the most important parts right here, man. We got some offers coming out.
It's
Dodie,
only
what
been
we
an
got?
hour.
No, I'll spend longer than that.
An hour and a half, excuse me.
What you got on the offers over there, Dodie?
All right, we'll start with Liberty Allo. Daquan Prevost getting an offer from Florida State. Another big time historic program, Florida State is, and another big offer from Prevost.
Exactly. Florida State, obviously.
We're just gonna let that historic slide right there.
How is it not a historic program? They have 3
Historic-
national championships.
historic
Jameis Winston,
Florida State's so trash.
Jameis Winston, Dalvin Cook, Deion Sanders.
It is a great offer. I'm not a Florida State fan.
What about even the years of
You can
Bobby?
still respect greatness.
I mean, that was fun. I mean, they're trying to do away with the chop and everything, dude. Like, it's
just
taking
new day
away
and
what made
age.
them great.
Yeah, that's just from the new day and age.
It's
stuff.
woke culture, man.
Yeah, but shout out Florida State. Obviously, Prevo, if you do choose to go there, don't stand on top of any tables in the student center and yell anything.
Don't even eat
steel
seafood.
crab legs.
Don't eat seafood.
Yeah, and just kind of watch out for all of that. All right, moving
That
on.
is a great offer for him.
Yeah,
man.
great offer for Prevo for real.
I don't even know how many that puts him at right now, but
27.
Earl's working over there.
27. Shout out to Ilo.
I think it's in the 20s. All right, moving across town, Mr. Corbin Franklin, another dual scholarship offer for SAU in both football and track. We talked a little bit about it yesterday, getting some offers from OBU for both football and track. Seeing it again right here.
Shout out to Corbin, man. It's a great offer for him. I don't know where he's going to go, but probably getting a little money for football, a little money for track. That's great for him and his family.
Yeah, and being a guy that can do both like that, because we know he on the track, I mean, 4.3 is 4.3, 4.3, 4.3. It don't matter where you go,
Yeah.
where you at. And with him being able to bring that with him, I know whenever I was at SMU, TCU was actually recruiting a lot of guys that were dual guys. They had to listen, B-Cat, and all those guys down there running track and playing receiver for them, and it made it easier on the scholarship money. And so being a guy that brings that to the table, I mean, wherever he chooses, they're going to get a steal out of him on both sides.
And then finally, out of Longview, Willie Nelson, Texas State.
Willie.
I believe that's his 7th offer now.
He's got an Oklahoma offer.
He's got some big-time
Yeah.
offers.
Hey.
Oklahoma, he went and visited Texas this past weekend with Taylor Tatum, so they could possibly have some interest in him. He's a great safety. We were there whenever he had 3 picks in one game. An incredible guy to watch.
Great on punt return, great on kick return.
He's
I
going to
mean,
catch everything that comes
yeah,
his way.
I mean,
That's
he's so
one thing about
good.
Willie Nelson.
Ball skills.
He's a ball hawk.
Yeah, he's a ball hawk. I mean, they're amazing. Like, to see Willie Nelson at school that would be here, you got to think he played both sides of the ball. You got to think he's a crazy receiver too. So again, another guy who puts a lot of options on the table for himself. Defensively, he comes downhill, fills gaps for the run game. No fly zone back in the back end, and then like you said on special teams, at any given moment he can take it to the house. So, shout out Willie Nelson.
He's one of my favorite players to watch in high school football right now.
Facts.
Yep,
Shout out Lobos.
That's all we got for offers.
I bet you. I'm gonna
Right
go ahead and
now,
say
at
this. I
least.
bet you every time we do this show, we're gonna have some offers again.
Oh,
like the
absolutely.
offers are coming out of this area
Yeah.
like crazy right now. Shout out to
You
all
know,
the
somebody was
athletes.
telling me the other day, he said it's not that we weren't getting them years ago. He said we just didn't have anybody highlighting it like Game Day does.
Yeah, facts.
You know,
Right.
so
Because I know in 2012, I mean, John Michael McGee at Texas High, I know he's 70-something offers on the table as an old lineman.
you know, another thing to keep in mind, these are just the ones we know about. Who's getting offered in Hooks, DeKalb, New Boston, Maud, Redwater, Atlanta, Queen City? Like, who's getting offered out there that they just start funneling those to us?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We've been getting some guys from around those areas, North Texas, UTSA, getting some looks, and so they're coming out of the woodwork. We don't necessarily notice just because they're a little bit outside of town, but they get a little bit more notice from these coaches, and they catch our eye, and we're like, we need to focus on these guys and help them grow even bigger to get on a bigger stage.
Yeah.
Exactly, and that's another thing. I mentioned it yesterday, just being in this area. I know there's not a lot to do. There's not that many attractions or whatever. But as an athlete and your children are athletes, this is one of the hottest areas in the country to be an athlete. I mean,
They don't call it Beast Texas for nothing.
Exactly. Schools are coming left and right. I mean, my brother went to the Naval Academy. He still has ties up there. They talk about Texarkana often. I think there's been 3 or 4 other guys from here that have gone to the Naval Academy since then. I mean, it's just becoming a pipeline through Texarkana. So shout out Texarkana.
Great help for football.
Exactly. But the season that Doty loves, my first love of sports, actually, Morgan's getting into it more now, it's baseball, all right? Otani is leaving L.A. I'm not even going to try to say that first name.
Shohei Ohtani.
But he's leaving L.A. What does this mean? This is big baseball news. What does this mean for LA, and what does this mean for Ohtani?
So this kind of goes back to last season. At the trade deadline, the Angels were looking to possibly deal Ohtani. They know that they're not really utilizing his value. He's an incredible pitcher and an incredible batter. He's unlike anybody that we've seen since Babe Ruth, and has potential to become the.
Have you seen Babe Ruth play?
I haven't seen him play, but
Well, I just mean in the game of baseball. Don't get me started on Babe Ruth.
God.
But like he has the potential to be the greatest player that the game has seen, and so it goes back to that. And they stayed back of trading him at the trade deadline. Then we get to this offseason, and he's going to be a 2024 free agent. And this is how big it is that we're talking about it here on January 27th, that we're even talking about Shohei Ohtani in 2024. But the Padres came out and said, oh, hey, we want to offer you $500 million or more to come play for my team. That's about $80 million more than the highest contract in the MLB currently.
Holy.
So, again, he has the potential, and that could be a bidding war even more than that. Somebody could offer more than the Padres. The Yankees have come out and said that they have interest.
You couldn't let me have that kind of money, because if I didn't like you, I would bid you up every time.
every time.
Yeah.
And then if it didn't work out for me, I just wouldn't sign you.
Every time.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to cost you money every time.
When I saw that the Yankees were coming out and putting their name in the hat, or saying they may put their name in the hat, that's when my eyes kind of got big, because we all know the Yankees will spare no expense for another team.
Well, I don't know. I feel like that was the dad that would spare no expense. I don't know if the kids spare no expense.
Think about what they're gonna do for Aaron Judge.
They've already paid Aaron Judge a huge amount. $326 million over 9 years, something like that.
The salary cap 1 year, and this is just generalizing because I know how y'all are. Y'all going to look it up. Let's say the salary cap was $100 million. He spent like $200 million on his team 1 year.
Yeah.
Like, the dad did not care.
And
the
that's
dad
why
was
they're
there to win.
They're still doing it. Aaron Judge, they have, I believe, 2 players now in the top 10 of highest paid players, and Aaron Judge and Garrett Cole, and they're looking to add a third now in Shohei Ohtani. But I mean, you can stick him anywhere. He's going to be another person in your rotation, and he's another quality bat as your designated hitter. But he can also play field if you want him to as well. He can play. He can do anything. He's an incredible talent. And then another thing that kind of hints at him leaving is the Angels are sticking with their current owner. There was potential of him possibly selling the team, and so that hints at he's unlikely to return. If I'm the Angels, there's no way that I'm not trading Shohei Ohtani this year.
Exactly.
You can get so much for him that it would be an insane thing not to trade him whenever you know that his value is so high.
Got an offer alert.
Offer alert. Okay.
Down from Longview, Texas.
All right.
Coach Matt Rule
Nebraska.
offered Taylor Tatum.
Hey.
Very nice.
Turn up, Nebraska. They need a revamp.
They're rebuilding.
Speaking of that, I don't think some people were happy with my assessment yesterday.
Why?
I think they think I was wrong. They think Taylor Tatum's better.
Than Adrian Peterson?
An AP?
Then,
Cedric Benson.
Cedric Benson. That's a big shoes to fill. That's
I mean, he's still got another year to change my mind, but I'm just Cedric Benson fan. Rest in peace.
big shoes to fill, and also, I mean, great company to be in. If we're talking about you in the same conversation with guys like Adrian Peterson and Cedric Benson of Texas running backs, I mean, you obviously are elite talent. But, I mean, Taylor Tatum, I mean, he's blazing the recruiting trail. Nebraska, they need some help up there, too, big time. What's my boy's name up there? They just transferred there last year? Not Kool-Aid, but the coldest.
The coldest, but
The coldest Crawford?
He transferred out, I think.
Nebraska already?
I believe so.
Coldest
I
ain't
think
coldest.
Malik Hornsby transferred out to Nebraska.
That's 3. That'll be his third school. That'll be Dakota's his third school.
Yeah, he's.
Let's not be the coldest. Now he has some injury trouble
pay
up
to
there
play.
in Nebraska too. Do what happened?
Pay to play.
Yeah.
Pay to play. Hey,
That's exactly what it
He
is.
signed a huge air conditioning NIL deal.
When he was at LSU?
No. When he got to Nebraska.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so that could have happened.
He was
Well, the
in
original
commercial.
one was at LSU.
Yeah, he got money there.
I will back up the money funneling thing, because if you look at this ad and the van
Oh, it's
this
trash.
company had was raggedy.
It's trash. Yeah, the van was all the letters on the van were all washed out. This is the primetime commercial for his NIL deal or whatever. I mean we do way better. You know what I mean? Yeah, we've made way more commercials. When you watch the Game Day stream, you've seen way better commercials than what they're putting out for these NIL athletes right now, for sure.
Right.
No doubt about it. We got some other baseball news here coming up, and it's about high school baseball, man. It's the preview. We got high school baseball right around the corner. The teams are getting lined up. I talked to Coach Fincher. You see the hat right here. I got it on right here. Talked to Coach Fincher the other day. You know, the Pleasant Grove Hawks they're ready and they're looking good.
Yeah, February 4th is going to be first day of scrimmages around the area, but we have an inter-squad scrimmage today with Texas High at 4 p.m. You can go out and support them. But just kind of having a little bit more of a baseball preview, the Texas High School baseball preseason rankings came out in these past weeks. Pleasant Grove ranked 10th in 4A. And then a big matchup for Pleasant Grove that I'm really excited about is February 20th. They're battling Carthage, who's going to be number 4 in Texas 4A. So at home here in Pleasant Grove. So that'll be an exciting game. Pleasant Grove's returning a lot of starters and a lot of big-time names.
Well, they're going to be
Long.
young. They're going to be super young.
Yeah, J.M. Long going to Texas Tech. Brenton Clark going to Arkansas. They have a lot of talent coming back.
Shout out Chase Brewster.
Shout out Chase Brewster, of course. Staying in 4A, Liberty Ilo not ranked in the top 30, which I thought was interesting. Are the Leopards being slept on this year, returning some pretty key starters? WT
Man, you got them
Cal,
Jones kids out there.
WT Cal, Britton Pipes, Dylan something behind the plate. Dylan.
Yeah, I don't want to.
Oh, goodness. He knows what I'm talking about. But he's a great catcher for Liberty Ilo. I mean, they're returning something like that. It starts with a C.
Sounds right.
It starts with a C.
He said C. It just sounded like Garner.
Wonder if our app is
the
up to
Liberty Ilo
date.
team. I'm going to talk about what they lost a little bit too, though. We know the Jones boys are coming back, and that's going to be great for them. They got a few guys, but positions where they're going to need to fill. One coming out of right field, that's going to be Ron Garza. Huge energy guy for the team.
Yeah, I like Ron.
And if we remember, he was a big.
Got a great photo of him crossing the plate to
Yes.
beat PG the first time, right?
Yeah. He was a big relief pitcher for them as well, and even pitched in a couple of playoff games for them too. And then obviously the guy from around your neck of the woods, Morgan, out in Longview. I can't remember his name right now from last year.
Gage Bellotti?
Gage Bellotti.
Okay. I thought he graduated.
He did.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, I'm about to say.
We're
We're talking about losing.
All right,
losing
yeah,
talent
yada,
now.
yada, 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 yada.
So yeah, Gage Bellotti, their number one arm, great first baseman, and then their biggest bat in the lineup.
And then Braylon Blair out in center field.
Exactly.
He went out to Henderson State.
Yep.
That's a huge loss out in the field. And then Dalton Worley.
Worthy.
Dylan Garton. Yes, Dylan Garton, catcher.
Yeah,
Liberty
yeah.
Ilo. Thank you,
Worthy's
Cam.
gone as well. That's
Yes.
another one of their first basemen, and the big bat in the lineup is gone as well in Liberty Ilo. So I can see why they kind of dropped in the ranking because they did lose some key pieces. But I think that Fowler and Coach Jones will have those guys ready to play this year.
I think Cal and WT take that next step in the pitching game to kind of fill in Bellotti's shoes. They were key there in the playoffs, playing those 3-game series. They filled in big-time roles and got good pitching outings. And so I think they'll do a lot of the same this year. I expect WT to take a huge step, especially him being so young last year as only a sophomore.
Exactly. Only a sophomore having to take kind of a lead role on the team is kind of difficult sometimes. But he stepped in and did it greatly. And this year, I think, same thing.
And then we're going to go out 3A. Hooks ranked 20th in 3A, returning 8 starters, including offensive MVP Cameron Choate and pitcher MVP Matthew Hayes, and also Logan Davis.
Yeah, Logan. They got Logan and Hudson on the team.
Euler.
Yep.
So, I mean,
I'm assuming the Birdwell kid plays.
yes, I believe so.
The quarterback, does he play?
Trip Basinger, I'm not sure. He's only a freshman or sophomore this year, so I'm not
I
sure.
bet you he does.
if
I
he
mean,
plays
they
a
kind of
whole
play
lot.
everything.
Most of the time.
Yeah.
But they will
Hey,
definitely.
shout
be
out to
interesting watch.
Birdwell. He was, I think, off defensive newcomer of the year on the Smokies All East Texas team.
Okay. Shout out
I
Bird.
believe so. Shout out to him.
And
Hey,
then
a lot of big things coming out of here.
Yeah, man.
and then-
Hooks always has some good athletes.
Yeah.
And-
I think that team they have coming up, like Birdwell's a sophomore, maybe. But by the time they're seniors,
That'll be good.
yeah, I mean
It'll
they're
be fun
good
to
now.
watch
I can only
on
imagine.
this new baseball field and new softball field
Oh,
too.
that's a big. That's
Yeah,
big
yeah,
news,
yeah. I haven't seen the new turf in person yet, but supposedly it's fly.
It looks really nice in pictures for sure.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, so they have new baseball facilities.
Yeah, and softball.
Yeah, it'll be fun to go out there and watch them. I believe some of our more our bigger schools are going to be going out there for some games, so we'll look to catch them here early on in the season in non-district play. And then closing it out, Texas High losing a lot of pitching talent. Wow. Nathan Steele, Robert Taney, Sawyer Pritchard, Luke Smith. A lot of big names that they're losing, and a big thing is how do they fill those holes with guys coming up, and then their district's getting tougher. Adding top 30 White House, who they lost to in the playoffs last year, they're coming into their district, and then Hallsville's ranked 13th in that district as well. And then, I mean, we have Longview, who also has Taylor Tatum, who we know is an incredible.
I think Longview's going to be up this year, according to Frank. They don't have pitching. But Hallsville won the state championship 2 years ago, right?
I believe so.
Semifinals last year.
They have always been a really good team. That's a really tough district. We kind of talk about football, how it's kind of weak, but in baseball, that is one of the toughest districts. Mount Pleasant's really good. Sulphur Springs is really, or not Sulphur Springs. I think Sulphur Springs, is in that district. But White House, Hallsville, Longview. I mean, you find pretty good athletes at every single position in that rotation. It's definitely going to be one of the hardest districts in 5A for sure.
Most definitely. And Mount Pleasant, not to get off subject, but Mount Pleasant just really coming up in that district and making themselves a top program. I think the football team has a little ways to go, but basketball, I don't know if they lost the game yet. Are they still undefeated?
I'm not sure.
I know they were
It's
undefeated.
just so random that Mount Pleasant is good at basketball.
I know, crazy, right?
Like, and the thing is, it's like, not to be disrespectful, but it's kind of like, oh, do they have a great player that's leading them? It's girls and boys.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying they don't have a great player, but they don't have like a McDonald's All-American on their team. Yeah. They don't have somebody that you're like, oh, that kid's going to Duke. That's the reason they're winning all these games. Like, they have a program that's great, and it's just odd that it's in Mount Pleasant.
That's what I was going to say, too. I think it speaks to the program in the whole. If you have the girls and boys undefeated, and everybody's doing the right things. And
they are currently undefeated, by the way.
Everybody's playing the right way. I mean.
But isn't it? I don't know why I think it's odd because it's Mount Pleasant. It's just odd.
We've never seen it before.
But their facilities are amazing.
Yeah.
I wonder, you think that plays a role in it? Like, not how good they are, but people wanting to play maybe?
I think it plays a role into what you get out of your athletes. You know what I mean? If you're coming, if we had to come to work and the roof was leaking, and you know what I'm saying, or whatever, we're not gonna want to be here. We're not gonna want to do nothing. You know what I'm saying? But we come into a nice building.
Shout out Brandon Lawrence.
Keeping the lights on for us while we play.
Shout out Brandon keeping the lights on, sweeping the floors, and all that good stuff. We come into a clean spot, great work environment. We want to be in here. We want to work, and I think it's the same thing when it comes to the athletes. You got great facilities, nice weight room, nice stuff to work out in. It's easy to come to work. Yeah. And I think that's just what they're doing right now.
Y'all want to finish it on this PGLE game tonight?
Let's do it.
Sounds good to me.
Before we get to that, just so Brandon can get his 2 cents in right here, man. I was asked to add something to the show notes, and that's the Royal Rumble. We got the Royal Rumble coming up, man. Wrestling is somehow sneaking its way onto the show 2 days in a row. But Brandon want to talk about the Royal Rumble, man. So what you got?
Do they still do a Royal Rumble? Like 100 people go in or something? And then if you get thrown out, you lose? Let's talk about it. Let's go.
What you got for us, Brandon?
Do you think they draw names out of a hat to see who's going to win the Royal Rumble?
Brandon's got all the rules. He knows it all.
No, that was more of a joke. That was a joke.
No, we're talking about it now, Brandon. Go ahead.
Go ahead and tell us about it.
Who do you think's going to win?
I have no idea.
He has no idea. Do you even watch wrestling still? You just have me throw it on there for no reason?
Yeah, pretty much.
Brandon doesn't want to admit he watches wrestling.
Yeah, he knows exactly who's going to win. He said somebody's name before we started the
camera. I watch it
cameras.
from a distance. I kind of keep up with it, but I don't watch every.
He said somebody's name before we started the show.
Is Undertaker still on there?
He doesn't wrestle, but he'll show up every now and then.
I was about to say he's got
like Triple H.
Triple H is
like him.
He's the head of content.
Have y'all seen Lex Luger? He's lost like all muscle mass.
Hey, who is the hottest who's the hottest wrestler right now?
Roman Reigns.
That's who he said earlier.
The champ.
He's probably got a Roman Reigns doll.
That's The Rock's cousin, ain't it?
Yeah, something.
He's probably got a Roman Reigns doll at his house.
Hey, what do y'all think about that? The Rock's family.
Did y'all own a Stretch Armstrong?
Hold on, Danny Heflin asked, "Is Landon Jackson going to be in it?"
He might be one of them surprises.
He might be.
What if they have Landon in like those underwear things they make him wear?
Oh,
like Triple H used to wear
tights.
I mean, a bunch of them wear those.
Yeah,
they're so odd.
The wrestling attire it has.
He said wrestling.
Wrestling, whatever you want to say. We call it wrestling.
That's wrestling.
We call it wrestling. I don't know if I'm from Womby. You know what I'm saying? Down the road. One Big Texas Route 3 box 310. Get it right. You know what I'm saying?
Goodness.
Morgan wouldn't know about that. He ain't from here.
They got the fresh tomatoes up there.
But tonight, man, we got a crosstown matchup and a game that's gonna really prove something in this district. In this district right here, in this Liberty Island versus Pleasant Grove at the Raider Dome. Tip-off is supposed to be at 7:30, but we know the games kind of get rolling a little faster. So if you're going to be in the building, you might want to get there about 7. And we may also be going, we will be going live when they start. So around that time as well. But what do y'all think about this game, man? What's the matchup looking like?
I mean, both teams coming in 2-2. We talked about it a little bit yesterday, kind of securing a tight spot in that 3 seed. I think for 3 key players for each team will be Torian Phillips, Halston Baca, and Drew Glover. Drew Glover's 3-point ability, I think, will be a key to kind of keeping up with Liberty Island's tempo. And then JJ being that true point guard, but able to stretch out around the perimeter and shoot whenever he's able to. Tracy Revels and then Prevo, of course. He's gonna shoot a lot, and they're gonna go in whenever he's hot. And so if he can stay hot and keep shooting, that'll be a key to a LE win, I'm sure.
I mean, it's a rivalry game. I hope we have a close game tonight. It's not like one of them hated rivalry games, like, oh, you might see a fight or something. All these dudes are friends. But it's PGLE, which has turned into a big deal in the city over the last few years. And pack out Raider Dome tonight.
Facts.
Pack this place out. Show up, show out. We'll all be there. It's going to be a good time.
Most definitely.
Even Weezy's going to be there. Stella's going to be there. Jennifer's coming.
It's going to be a packed house. It always is when we go over there. Intensity is going to be high. Coach Brewer is going to have those guys in a full court press probably all night long. And like Dodie said, Torian Phillips is going to have to show, his true point guard ability.
Yeah.
But I think PG and Ellie both just have to make sure that they don't fall in love with that 3-point shot tonight. Both teams can shoot the ball a little bit, but they are better at getting to the rim, in my opinion. Greg London does a great job of getting to the rim. Tracy's good at getting rebounds and putting them back up. And then on the other side of the ball, Torian Phillips, Keaston King, Halston Baca's big. Ben Bricker's big and cutting to the basket. One of the best cutters I've seen in the district so far. So it's going to be a good game tonight, man. So like Morgan said, pack out the Raider Dome. And if you can't be there, hey, we got you covered right here on Game Day.
What's your pick? And how much are they going to win by?
My pick for this game tonight, I'm going to ride with the Leopards. My old coach, Billy Brewer over there, and shout out Big Pressure, Trey Carson as well. They've got those guys running the floor like better than a lot of teams that I've seen this year.
Yeah.
So I think I've got to go with them just for the lack of ball handling outside of Torian Phillips that Pleasant Grove has.
How many women are they going to win by?
At least by 12.
I think Pleasant Grove is going to get in a lot of foul trouble here tonight. With LE running such a high tempo, they're going to try and stop them, and they're going to get a lot of reach-ins. They're going to get a lot of blocks, and I feel like that's going to put them in foul trouble pretty early. Ben Bricker could be one of those people. Torian Phillips could be one of those people. So I feel like LE's going to pull out on top. I would say LE by 8.
I had LE by 8 as well.
Okay. Made me look bad going with 12. But it's all right. Hey, man, if you tuned into the show today, we appreciate it, man. This show brought to you by Buddy's Home Furnishing today. Shout out to Buddy's. It's been a cool little partnership with Buddy's so far.
Yeah, man, I'm thankful for it.
But we will see you guys on the next episode.
Whoa, hold on.
Hold up.
What's the answer to the trivia question, Nick?
Oh, I forgot about that. I didn't even ask y'all's question either. All right, the answer to the other one, since nobody in the comments got it right, is 36 red cards.
36.
36.
I didn't even know there was that many people. Oh, that's like everybody then.
Yeah.
That's like everybody.
No, you said like one person.
No, the question was record for red cards in a soccer game.
That's almost everybody. I think.
And then you
18
said there was a
people.
personal foul, so I thought you meant like one person.
Well, a red card is a personal foul, but if it happens to 18 people on your team on both teams, that's 36
They must have
people.
gotten a brawl.
Yeah, it
Had
has
to have gotten a brawl.
It has to be a fight and bench clearing, because I'm pretty sure there's like 18 people on each team, 11 people on the field, 7 subs.
Midland Greenwood just came open, head coaching job in AD.
Okay.
Pleasant Grove played them in the playoffs 2019, I believe.
This is my question for y'all.
Okay.
Oh, go ahead. Finish that.
That's the one where Sergio got on You Got Mossed on the kids.
Okay, turn up. Sergio. Shout out Sergio, man. I ain't seen him in a while.
Yeah, you have. You saw him at the Carthage game.
That's right. Sure did. Shout out Sergio. man.
Sore subject.
Hey, your question for you and Doty. I wonder who's going to get this right first. It's baseball, so maybe Doty. Who pitched the only no-hitter perfect game in a World Series? I'll give y'all the year as a hint. That's all. That's the only hint I got for y'all.
Okay.
Can I guess the team?
I don't have the team. So.
Well, I mean, you know the player.
yeah, I can look it up. Yeah. I mean, you get the team.
What year was it?
1956.
Well, I'll never get.
Cy
never-
Young.
No.
This is just. I have no idea when this. Not even gonna say it because he probably didn't even pitch. I hadn't been following baseball like that. Why are you doing stuff like that?
Babe Ruth.
Because it's hard questions on purpose.
Oh, why don't you do like who's won the most dunk contest in the NBA? Something like
Because we
that.
all
What's the
know.
answer to that?
So something that we can have fun with.
All right, well, I'll go ahead and tell y'all since y'all don't know. It's Don Larson in 1956.
Yeah, I would have never got that.
And he played for
Back
what
to back
team?
days.
What team? Y'all don't know what
You
team?
said you didn't know the team.
I know the team now. You made me look.
You're gonna make me
Cardinals.
get Yankees.
You're close. You're not. It was the St. Louis Browns at the time, but the St. Louis
That's a
Browns
win.
ended up
That
being the
counts.
That's still a
Baltimore.
win.
They ended up being the Baltimore Orioles, though. So not the same organization,
Shout out Nelly.
same city. Shout out
Shout
to
out
the
Nelly.
St.
And the
Lunatics.
St. Lunatics, yeah.
Don Larson. If anybody else asks y'all this,
Name a
Don-
St. Lunatic.
I don't know what that is.
See Murphy Lee before.
Murphy Lee ain't wrong, man.
Sorry. I don't know what that is. I don't know who Paul Wall is. I'm sorry.
You know who PaulAll
We've
is.
already talked
He has a
about
freaking
this.
track meet named after him.
No, he
No,
does
he
not.
does not.
It's the
On
Paul
that-
Wall relays.
Oh, par.
No.
Relays, man. Hey,
Talked about this.
we appreciate everybody for tuning in. I am Nick Reed with my main man Morgan Smith, Zach Doty, Cam Silliman behind the cameras, Brandon Loris over there in this corner, and Miss Gameday didn't really make an appearance today. But we'll all see y'all
Well, she didn't
live.
spend any money yesterday, but wait till Monday.
We'll see y'all live next time on The Drop.